Hello and welcome. It's 6:30 p.m. in Lagos, Nigeria, 1:30 p.m. in New York City. Wherever in the world you're joining us, welcome to another episode of 90 Minutes Africa. My name is Rudolph Okonkwo.
I look at the governors, 36 of them, more as criminals than the president. Supreme Court gave a judgment based on our inadequate constitution that the 774 local governments that ab initio are not supposed to be in the federal constitution, that those local governments should have their direct allocation funding not being trampled upon by the state governors. But since that judgment was given, all the 36 governors have not obeyed the law. That's criminal and the president is not even helping in the matter. The CBN governor is also not helping in the matter. He's asking the local government to submit 2 years audit before they can get money to run our grassroots. So I think the Sorore case with the DSS, with the president, should also open our eye to what kind of government we are running. What kind of law do we have in the country? So, and it will be interesting how the court determine the case. And it's good that they both countersue each other. It's interesting.
All right. If I can find myself. Welcome again. Thank you so much for joining us. The FIFA World Cup is taking place today, a few minutes away from here in New Jersey. Argentina is playing Spain. But here on 90 Minutes Africa, we are always live. The show must go on. So thank you for those who are able to join us today as we continue our conversation on issues impacting Africa, Nigeria, and the world at large. On today's show, we have one of the new people who are now the editorial board members of the Tribune newspaper. Most of you know the Tribune is one of the oldest newspapers in Nigeria. He's an editorial board member, and he has been writing a column on Mondays in the Tribune, where he analyzes all the things that are going on in Nigeria. So we are happy to welcome to the show Dr. Salako, who is joining us from the United States. Dr. Salako, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Damages. Thank you for having me. And thank you, listener who have joined us, Nigerians around the world. Thank you for joining us in this conversation.
Yes, I know today is the World Cup and a lot of people are excited. Some people are having watch parties and they are not at home. But we are going to be here. We are going to entertain those who will join us, and we'll be giving you updates on how the game is going as we go along. Again, thank you so much for making our time today to be here with me. The World Cup, have you been watching?
Yes, I watched the match yesterday between France and England, where I saw a lot of Nigerians in both teams, which is very interesting to me. And I was telling my son, why are these good guys, Bukayo, Olise, and, Eberechi, or what's his name? All of them, why are they not playing for Nigeria?
The ones you have playing for you, did you take care of them? Why are you looking for other people to come and play for you?
My son was like, Daddy, do you think those guys will go back to Nigeria when FIFA gave Nigeria money and they embezzled it? I said, wow. I it didn't occur to me. Maybe I've not even heard it before or I've forgotten. And somebody also was like saying, after all, there is even about billions of naira that was budgeted for.
Oh, 6.4 billion budgeted for the
Wow.
World Cup.
Wow.
Where is the money? Do you know? We're going to talk about your column. We're going to talk about your new book. But let me continue with this World Cup thing. So many things have happened during this World Cup. A lot of people heard about Argentina and the history of racism in Argentina. What happened to Black people who were brought to Argentina during this slave trade? Did you hear about that?
Actually, I've not read. But did Argentina did slave trade in Africa?
Oh yeah, they were all part of it.
Oh.
All those countries, they had, yeah, the Europeans brought enslaved Africans to them, but in Argentina, they disappeared. They are not seen as part of the society.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's something. Argentina is facing bad PR. Even if they win this World Cup, I think they already lost. People even written against Argentina because of that. Most Africans and Black people all over the world, because that story gained traction during this World Cup. It's something that people have known. If you remember, a lot of Nazi people from Germany, they went to Argentina. So Argentina is known as a very, racist country. If you remember at the United Nations also, when they voted to condemn slavery and slave trade, Argentina voted against that with United States and Israel. Those were the three countries.
That's interesting. I need to research more on that.
So they've already lost before the final game. But
so should we support Spain today?
That's the question. A lot of people use politics to decide who they were going to support in.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
So I have issues with United Kingdom, England. I wouldn't have supported England in any game. Now,
but we have a lot of people in England. So
yeah, it doesn't matter.
And we have our people thriving well in England, even though they colonized us before.
My executive producer is in England, but yeah. But all right, let's look at France. I had this picture of their team. It's unbelievable the number of people who are Black in the French team. I don't know if you've seen it.
Their captain is a Black guy, Dembele, or what do you call him? What's his name?
So yeah, of course, I know. So this is surprising to so many people around the world. Is France now? Is this representation of the population of France?
Probably not.
Not.
Okay. Certainly not. Because you see, the truth of the matter is, Africa, we need to utilize our talent to grow our society. This is telling us a subtle message to reflect and be more inwardly about how we approach our development. I mean, it's a football, it's a game of sport, but we should think about it deeper in terms of development. That's what I see in all of this,
Okay, so Nigeria didn't make it, but Nigeria is not the only country that did not make it. Italy, for instance, did not come, and this is the second World Cup in a row that they did not make it to the finals. Do you think there's a lesson for Nigeria to learn from this experience of failing to make the World Cup?
Of course. The lesson is to prepare ahead, plan for it. Do not spend the money that is meant to develop the young people. Do not embezzle it. There should be a way of scrutinizing the expenses. I wonder what the civil society is even doing about the World Cup budget that we just mentioned. 6 billion naira, or how much do you call it? What did they use the money for? the money that was said that FIFA gave to Nigeria, how did it end? You know, so all of these issues are things that is bedeviling our system, and it's all is related to, you know, in my feed, it's related to also the way we manage other things like our refineries. You know, I have to say that because I'm an energy professional. You know, how can we have only one private refinery monopolizing the system?
Well, but why are we okay, we'll get to that, because why are we complaining about monopoly when we didn't have any? Just
And that is what I'm saying. That is what
yeah.
I'm saying. If we should build a system whereby there will not be a monopoly. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if we have a refineries like three of them that are not working, you know, common sense, you know, dictates that we should find a way of making them to work as a nation. That is what we call state capacity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is what I call state capacity in my book. When a country cannot run energy system effectively, when we have massive amount of energy, you know, I'm digressing now, and it's necessary. When we have massive amount of energy, both fossil fuel and non-fossil fuel, and we are not able to manage ourselves appropriately, you know, in this century, with the amount of people that are unemployed, with the impact of energy in reducing poverty around the world, then something is wrong with us. You know, so I digress from the fact that we have a lot of you know, Nigerians playing for overseas countries, and you mentioned that, okay, what do we do to prepare for FIFA World Cup next time? You know, it's about preparation, it's about planning, it's about system, setting up a system that works. That's how other countries are doing it. We don't have a system that works in all facets of our life. We need to come up with systems that work.
All right. Before we come home to Nigeria fully, I want to get your opinion on South Africa. I know the last time you came here, it hasn't become a major boiling point, but recently we've seen what happened, all the tragic events, and how African countries are moving their people out of South Africa. I don't know. Have you been to South Africa before?
No, I have not.
Okay.
I
Well,
haven't been to South Africa.
what do you make of that? The last guest I had on the show before this one mentioned the fact that, of course, it's fundamentally state failure, failure of the state to provide for the people, and the tendency of us, and that it has happened in other parts of Africa, pointing at the stranger as the reason why they failed to provide for their own people. And it happens in so many parts of the world. Is there any particular reason why the one in South Africa is very painful to other Africans?
Well, I think what is happening in South Africa is not only happening to Nigerians, as I've seen, it's happening to even Ghanaians. And I learned that Ghanaian government also repatriated their people from South Africa, just like we did. I think it's rather unfortunate for South Africa to be doing that to other Africans. People who were victims of apartheid, and Nigeria rose in their defense, you know, supporting them and fighting on their behalf. You know, it's rather unfortunate that Black Africans can do that to their fellow Black Africans. The xenophobic attack on our people is uncalled for. And I like you know, what people like Adam Oshiomhole is saying, retaliatory approach to South Africa, you know, is good. Where you also think inwardly, it's okay to say maybe because we don't have good government, you know, that is why a lot of people travel. But from time immemorial, people have always traveled all over the world, whether our government is good or bad. People will still travel all around the world. Okay? So it is not a good thing for South African people to be melting such treatment to our people. It's uncalled for. It has to be condemned in no ramification.
All right. Let's come to Nigeria. There are serious issues in Nigeria, a political scene. One of them is the incident that happened in Ebonyi State, where a lady who is a staff of the Minister of Works died at the home of the minister. Tragically, his reaction has attracted a lot of commentary by Nigerians who do not find him credible and how the case has been handled. Let me play a little bit of that reaction from Umahi, then we'll come back.
Information I want to correct is that the lady in question was like a daughter to me. She had stayed with me for 3 years. She was a staff of the Federal Medical University. She was a nurse and not a physiotherapist. And the family and my family are like one family. And she has her medical records in Turkish hospital, being paid by us. And she spoke to her boyfriend at the hour of her death and complaining that she was bleeding from the nose. And the boyfriend said, no, you have to report. You say it has stopped. So the boyfriend said, listen, I will not continue this conversation since you are bleeding. It will increase the bleeding. And she told the boyfriend, don't cut the call. The boyfriend cut the call. And 3 minutes later, the boyfriend called again. She was not responding. And even in the morning, she told the boyfriend she was going to bath because she locked her door, So even in the morning, when they broke the door and discovered her dead, the tap was still running, So, but what baffles me, in this country is that everything becomes an opportunity. Now, there is a guest house where her and the second medical person stay. And that is very far from where I stay. And so it means that, God forbid, somebody dies in Ministry of Works, the minister must be accountable to that. Is that what they are saying? Is that they are saying that somebody cannot die? Is that, have they checked the medical records of the lady? Do they know, that this lady was like a daughter to me? And that, everything goes into politics. But what I say to people, be careful. Life is spiritual. When you want to use the unfortunate death of a young girl to play politics, if we have hands in the killings, it will follow us in our family. But if we don't have hands and you are jumping into it, behold, this is David. I'm a man of full grace. You don't, tackle me anyhow and you go out of it. So be careful when you want to use the death of that young lady. One of my best workers, a nurse, a staff of the federal. Somebody said, they were transported. The second girl is from Benue State, and that girl has worked with me as a governor before she was employed. And so when people darken the so while I'm not talking to the president, it means nothing, but very painful to me that girl passed on. It's very difficult to replace her. And the parents will be begging them, allow for autopsy to happen. They say it's against their culture. But the question is that if she were a Muslim, will you be insisting that autopsy will happen? But we insisted to our lawyer that autopsy should happen. And we are begging the parents to allow autopsy to happen. And I say, no, it's against their culture. And so we have a statement.
There are so many things wrong with what Umahi has been doing since this incident. What is your take on this?
Well, if I were in the shoe of the minister, I won't even give any press conference. I will allow the police to take their institutional role in, if anybody dies mysteriously or like that, the right thing is to report to the police. There is a death that occurred, and we call you to investigate it. What happened. Unfortunately, the parent of the lady said they don't want autopsy. That would have been a way for us to understand what really happened, because of recent in a fora we were discussing, and a lawyer said the right thing is to do coroner inquest. A coroner inquest will require autopsy as well as part of the process. That is what should have given us a clear indication. All of these message that the minister is giving, to be honest, is unnecessary. The people that we should be hearing from is the police, who will do their investigation institutionally. It's part of the problem. We don't have institutional thinking in Nigeria. You don't say because you are a minister, then you can give a speech, and then your speech is, though you have your own right to say your own side of the story, but say it to the police. We don't want to hear it. Say it to the police. What happened? What you think happened under your nose? So, and they allow the police to do their independent investigation. So that's my take on it. And unfortunately, the parent of the lady, we read that they don't want
How do we know? It's coming from Umahi.
Mm-hmm. You see?
And the affidavit, who goes to sign affidavit to say, you're right. When you talked about the institutional way, the police should have done their job, interview everybody, just like any other case. Umahi shouldn't be the one standing there telling us, oh, what if they are Muslims? because how is that relevant to what we're talking
about? That is why it gives room for people to suspect, infractions. And when I first saw the affidavit, I said, do you even need to swear affidavit to say you don't want autopsy? And somebody told me, maybe they are afraid. Afraid of who? So these are things, I don't want to be taking side on this, but it is quite clear. I always like to approach issue from institutional angle. And the institutional angle to me is that the police should be the one talking to us. Every other person should talk to the police, and police should tell us what they need to tell us. I mean, we don't want to hear from the minister. He's not in charge of such a case. His work is the ministry of to build road. So if something happened under him, he should be part of the suspects even. So that is my view.
We'll come back to this topic when we discuss health of our democracy and vibrant press, because in his commentary, in what he said, at one point he was threatening to deal with people who are making commentary or implying that he had something to do with that. He initially talked about using the cyber bullying, cyber law, cybercrime law against people who are making commentary. He mentioned Sahara reporters and whoever gave Sahara the picture of that he's going to, when this is, that he was going to challenge that in court, take them to court. And then he talked about praying so that God will deal with those people also, people who are calling his name.
He just said he's a David in his speech. So that he can,
he said, he was explicit. He talked about prayer that
a man after God.
He will
God acts.
Yeah, he will send back to the sender. All that you said about him. Anybody saying bad things about him, that is
a man after God's heart. You see, this is the problem. Yoruba people will say, "Ẹni tí ò ṣe nǹkan ìtùfù kì í kíyèsí ẹ̀kùlé." If you don't have skeleton in your cupboard, you don't go around and be threatening. So this is the problem with our public officials. it is not everything you react to, especially if you don't have anything to hide. Let people talk freely what they want to talk. Let them insinuate. Let them do whatever they want to do. All you have is you have the truth by your side. So if we allow police to do thorough investigation, don't give any speech. Don't influence police investigation. Don't use your public messaging to influence police investigation. Allow police to do their independent work and allow press to do whatever they want to do. Okay? So you just keep quiet and be doing your work. If I were in his shoe, that's what I will do. So, but I'm not in his shoe. So the problem we have is that people don't have emotional ability to withstand the position they hold. Okay? Generally speaking. People should sometimes just ignore some commentary as a public official. Now you are talking about cybercrime law, the law that is not, that law, especially section 24 of the law in 2015, when they first enacted the law, was full of subjective clauses. Insulting is in the clause, stalking, all sorts of nonsensical clauses that cannot be ascertained by court are in that law. And then they amended the law, I think, in 2024, and that amendment was still controversial. Even the ECOWAS court, was the one that asked them to amend the law. So the issue of cybercrime or what have you is just a design by the Nigerian political elite to ensure that the free press do not operate freely.
We will get back to that. But I wanted to know from you, your experience in America, if something like that, like this should happen where you are, what is the process? Who will speak? What will happen? Just imagine that a minister from Houston or from Texas had this incident happen. What would the process be like? Because most people in Nigeria, they don't know. They think that this is normal, that you have a minister telling us what is the phone call that came into the why is he with that information? Tell us what happens in America. Or
so the independence of institution is what we have in America largely. As I said earlier, him as a person should be the one to report to the police or somebody in his residence where that thing happened. When it first happened, even if he was caught as the head of that place, he should have actually told the people to go and report. That is what will happen in if it were to be America. You report to the police. Police will come. Police will then question everybody in the household. What did they see? What they can question them up to past 3 days. What did they observe about the lady in question? About the deceased. Then they can also interview the minister himself. You see? But I doubt whether the Nigerian police actually interviewed the minister, who is actually even giving us his own address, what he should tell the police and keep quiet, keep his mouth shut, after talking to the police. And all he needed to do is that, right now, I don't want to say anything to the press. The case is with the police. The police is investigating the matter, and you will hear from the police. That is what a really true educated person, somebody who is exposed, should do. You don't just tell us and be defending yourself. So that is what will happen in America, if that is the case in America.
All right. Let's move to another case, major issue in Nigeria, which is kidnapping and insecurity. In Oyo State, we had kids and their teachers kept by kidnappers for 50-something, 56 days or 59.
Yes, 56.
Yeah, 56 days. They were freed, and the government said that this was a victory. The government did not pay any ransom to free these people. They actually said that they lost soldiers, security people, in the process of freeing them. But the governor of the state, Makinde, did not felt that something was not right and decided that he will call on the United Nations to come and investigate. Let me play a bit of that video for those who did not see it.
Circumstances surrounding this incident are sufficiently grave and unusual to warrant independent scrutiny beyond our domestic institutions. I therefore, with a full sense of responsibility as the Executive Governor of Oyo State, call on the appropriate international human rights and accountability mechanisms, including those within the United Nations system, to closely examine the facts surrounding this abduction and the circumstances of its resolution. Such scrutiny is not intended to undermine our institutions. Rather, it is intended to reinforce public confidence that the truth will be established and that every person found to bear responsibility, regardless of office, influence, or affiliation, will be held accountable. Under the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the primary responsibility for national security rests with the federal government and the security agencies under its command. The Nigerian people, therefore, deserve a full and transparent account of what happened, who was responsible, whether there were institutional failures, negligence, or collusion at any level, and what measures must now be taken to ensure that no community is ever subjected to such an ordeal again. This is not about politics. It is about justice for the victims, reassurance for our people, and restoring public confidence that every Nigerian child can go to school without fear.
All right. That's Governor Makinde talking about what should happen. Do you agree?
Well, this is a very serious matter. I am from Oyo State, as you know. I have written quite well about the adoption. I think there was a time I was blacking out my colon in protest of the adoption. Makinde is a governor. He has a lot of information at his disposal. He knows what we don't know. He might have seen maybe there are some issues that needed clarification. But in my column tomorrow, I address both Makinde and both Governor Makinde and President Tinubu from the angle of the philosophy of Awolowo as the foremost Yoruba leader, you know, dead and alive, is still an example that we can gauge what is going on now. We can gauge his philosophy and respond to what is going on now. First of all, Makinde is right to call on the international community. You know, I mean, international community were involved when Chibok girls were kidnapped in Borno State. It became an international matter. This also could become an international matter to investigate what has happened, even though the victims have returned home. The federal government claimed that they rescued the people, but Tribune recently published that the people were interviewed and they said they were released. So we don't know what is really going on. And there was a presentation, I think Shane Okimbaloye's program. One retired army general came up and said the kidnappers' family members were identified, and their family members were also taken to custody of the government, and government showed the picture to the kidnappers, and the kidnappers, because of their own family, released the people. So there are several stories out there. We don't know which is which. But the unfortunate thing is that the president, commander-in-chief of the armed forces, did not talk about all this matter at all. That is really ridiculous. Negligence of, show of empathy. And in my column tomorrow, I stated it that it was easy for President Tinubu, candidate Tinubu in 2003, to visit Makinde in Ibadan to ask for his political support. But when the kidnapper from Northeast, Boko Haram, as claimed by the defense headquarters, came to Olarinre to kidnap our people, Tinubu did not find it right to visit the place. He sent his delegation to Olarinre. Those ones, they ignored the governor of the state. They are playing politics with security. So if the president and the governor had worked together, remember, it took Peter Obi to visit Makinde, for Peter Obi to now tell the whole world that for 50 days, Makinde and Tinubu did not talk to each other about the problem. Can you imagine? Someone was telling me that Makinde went to Abuja on a Tuesday to see the president. The president did not see him. Makinde had to return back on a Thursday. I said, well, how do we know that? Makinde did not tell anybody that until Obi tell us. So the issue now, him calling on the international community, we should reflect back. If the president and the governor had worked together, you see in America how the incident of fire in Los Angeles, how President Trump flew to Los Angeles and Governor Gavin Newsom, despite their hot political differences, they work together for the people. Our leaders in Nigeria don't work together for the people. And also, Makinde himself, as far back as I think January or March, when I think it was January, he put it on the social media that area of Old Oyo National Park is now vulnerable to insecurity, when about 3 or 4 people were killed at that place. So that was a signal to him to also beef up security around that area, irrespective of our unitary constitution that puts all security gadgets or security apparatus in the hand of the president. He should have used Amatekun and some retired military officer to make sure that place is protected. Now, with his call now, I am open to his call. I believe that it should be investigated by independent organization. What are the issues surrounding the kidnapping? How come it lasted 56 days? Were the people released or were rescued? We need to know. The president has not talked to us about all these things happening all over the country. Recently I learned that about 200 people died in Niger State. Arewa Consultative Forum they are not even saying that the president should utilize the system he used in Olarinre to rescue people in Olarinre. He should use it to rescue other people too. They said he's discriminating against them. All sorts of nonsense. The Arewa people who should be thinking inwardly that the children of their community in the north are causing trouble for all of us all over the country. Everything is being politicized instead of us to face the matter as on. That is the problem I have with Nigeria. Okay, so Makinde calling on the international community could be looked at in two ways. He also need to think inwardly. He's my governor. What did he do when the killers came to the Old Oyo National Park in January to keep about 3 or 4 people? What did he do after that? Did he meet the president after that? Did he seek the audience with the president to make sure that the kidnapping of the 44 people did not happen? So all of this, we need to reflect as a people. Calling on the international community is also a shame on us. It is a shame on us that we cannot handle our own affairs, very well. You look at that. Tinubu in 2023, he went to Ibadan to meet Makinde to ask for his support because he knew that it's a fraction between him and Atiku. He took advantage of that. When the issue of insecurity happened in Oyo State, he sent his minions who did not even pay attention, who did not even visit the governor to talk to the governor. They went straight to Olarinre, and they were wearing agbada. People who lack emotional intelligence. You want to mourn with people, you are wearing agbada, some of them are even laughing at the place. So Makide's call, I'm happy you bring this up because it is some of the things I wrote in my column for tomorrow. Makide's call is okay, but he should also reflect. What has he done? Let him tell us how he made effort to involve the president from the beginning when this thing happened. What was the reaction of the president? All along, they are showing to us as if the governor and the Oyo State government and the federal government are working together to do the rescue. That was what they were telling us before. Now, the music has changed. Who is fooling who?
Where is the Nigerian Tribune? Is it published in Ibadan or Ogun? Where is it?
The Nigerian Tribune is, I think, is in Ibadan, in Malenfala area.
Okay, why I'm asking is that why is it that somebody is protecting somebody else? Why did it take P2B to tell the country that Tinubu has not spoken to Makinde? Is it that Makinde called Tinubu and Tinubu did not take his call? What is going on? Why is the media not telling us this?
Well, the media does not know. It is only what you tell the media that the media will know.
They don't wait for
until Makinde, until Peter Obi visited Makinde, and probably Makinde told Peter Obi. That was what Peter Obi reported to us, and the media took it.
Yeah, but I'm saying there are people around the governor who knew what happened, what is
probably.
No, probably. Obviously, it's not the governor.
I mean, of course. So there might be people who knew about it. That is not impossible. Who probably did not say it out, and there might be media people that I'm not a traditional media person, as you know, and I don't intend to be. I'm an energy professional. I'm an engineer. I'm an AI expert. So I only, out of my desire to contribute to the system, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I thank Tribune for giving me the platform to do what I'm doing. But I will not say, media, we have Punch, we have Tribune, we have Sun. All of them have correspondence all over the country. So you cannot pinpoint Tribune for that. So
what you just said now. What
you have the guardian. You have the guardian.
What you just said now. They don't have money to keep correspondence all over the country anymore.
Well,
they have very few. I'm not sure most of.
So how do they get news? How do they get news from major cities of the country?
No. Sahara was in New York and was getting news from all over Nigeria. You don't have to be in that place.
So okay, we are saying the same thing.
But I'm saying
all of them must have gotten information.
Yeah, I'm saying that the paper that is based in a battle traditionally for many years should be the one that has more contacts, more sources to be able to tell this story. So my concern is, it's not that they don't know. My concern is that, are they trying to protect something? Because it might be that someone doesn't want to the world to know that there is a problem between the governor, Makinde, and the president. That may be why. Just like you had in Lagos. Remember when the governor of Lagos was having a problem with Tinubu? And we saw it in so many actions that happened eventually. So it might be that. But anyway.
Well, let me react to that quickly. You know, sometimes some information, you may not want it to go into the press, or if some press people close to you hear it, you may tell them not to publish it for the greater good. Makinde I'm not there. Makinde might be thinking that if such information is revealed, that is not able to get the attention of the president, it might jeopardize the rescue effort. You know, that is a greater reason not to let the information out. But when Obi said this thing, I don't think it's up to a week or two before we see the rescue happen. That is another irony of the whole matter. Because you can't keep information about president and governor not talking. This is the fundamental problem with our federation. You know, I always like to link things back to institutional approach to matters, system thinking. You cannot have a system whereby the security apparatus of the country is in the hand of the chief security officer of the country, and then the governor of a state, by letter, is also the chief security officer of the state. And the two of them are not talking. It's ridiculous. It is even more ridiculous for the fact that Tinubu and Makinde are Yorubas. And anybody can say, oh, why is he talking about tribalism now? I have to say it. Tinubu and Makinde are Yorubas. Awolowo will be rolling in his grave now. That these two guys who claim to even have, kind of a progressive ideology of the Awolowo Afenifere, foundation, and behaving like this. I'm really disappointed in the president. I'm really, really utterly disappointed in the president. Because even if Makinde does not contact him, he ought to come. And, when the people of Jos, when he went to receive the victim of Jos massacre in the airport, and the people of Jos were like, he can't even come inside to receive, to really, do the right thing. We have to go to the airport. He didn't even come to Ibadan. So, and charity begins at home.
All right. Now, one more thing about this issue. Whatever happened between Makinde and Tinubu, we may not know until they write their memoirs. I'm not waiting for that. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that
of what
as a result of that, Makinde now felt he had to appeal to the international community. If he had been talking to the president, I don't think he would have been calling for international community to do it. Now, this is what Oshomole, Senator Oshomole, now his reaction at the floor of the Nigerian Senate. Let me play that.
I read this morning in newspapers, and I've seen it with the electronic. The governor of Oyo State calling on the United Nations to investigate the overall circumstances surrounding the kidnap and even the rescue. I thought that was the most unstatesmanly. He was carrying partisan politics too far, and this Senate should condemn his unguided statement. Nigeria is a sovereign nation. When we wake up and call on foreign authorities to investigate, this is one case in which our armed forces have shown that without paying ransom, even if it meant that these children and some of the elders had to be in captivity for almost 2 months, that the armed forces were working quietly to have these rescue operations, which, as well captured in this motion, led to some loss of life. To trivialize it, to suggest, as the governor of Oyo State seems to have done, that there is something that is not open, needs to unearth the circumstances, is to question the sovereignty of our nation and to downplay the achievement of the commander-in-chief, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and all the service chiefs, and in fact all those involved in this process. I think that there's a moment in the history of a nation when, across party divide, we should stand in unison to commend what has happened, the way in which people were released, and to encourage the armed forces to build on it.
All right, that was Adam Oshomole talking about what Makinde did. So, your take?
The comrade senator is being patriotic on one hand. I've also said it that it's a shame on us to be calling the external, body into our affairs. And I have to say it, I'm really feeling ashamed, especially because Makinde and Tinubu are Yorubas like myself. Both of them are really a disappointment to me. But Oshomole also could be said to be, half is 50% with the truth, if we put it that way. Because when Chibok girls were kidnapped the first time, when it involved Jonathan, people like Oshomole in the opposition, they knew what they did against Jonathan, doing all sorts of things. It's an hypocrite, so it's a political hypocrisy. That's what I see Oshomole doing in that video. When he had that, when Obi said Makinde and Tinubu has not talked to each other, what did Oshomole do? Did Oshomole intervene? If Makinde and Tinubu have spoken and they have worked hand in hand, closely, the people wouldn't have spent 56 days in the den of Northeast Boko Haram people. It's unfortunate.
All right. One other aspect of this whole case is the story itself. The more the people who were kidnapped, the more they speak, the more the story the government is telling us is crumbling. Let me play a video of one of the kids who was one of the people kidnapped, the story of what he told the media when he came out.
In school, and as well, I was the last person that was released in that bush.
Okay.
Because the anchor that was on the boat teachers, the teacher is not ordinary teacher, it's even my VP. It's my VP. So I'm the school counselor. So when the anchor there was particularly they wanted to lose the anchor when we want to hit. So the anchor, the key now break. So when the key break, that man's hand was loose, so the anchor was with me till the day they released us. So there was no key to lose the anchor from my hand. That was the way I was carrying the anchor. So when they released us, everybody had gone.
Okay.
So they now said, I cannot carry this anchor home. That they will look for a way to lose the anchor. So one of them said, maybe they should cut off my hand. So the other said, no, they should not cut off my hand, though. that they should not worry, that he will look for a way to handcuff me. So he now went to look for just small tiny rope. It was a tiny rope he used to lose the handcuff. Okay. So that was how I was also released. Okay. So my people had gone far. I don't know where the route they took. I was just hearing their sound. So I was just running towards a direction. Their commander called me again. He pointed gun at me. He said, "Come." When he pointed gun at me, he said, "Come." I was afraid that only me in this bush. Is this how I'm going to die?
That's
so he told me to come back.
The ISWAP commander, the terrorist commander.
The one inside the bush, their commander inside the bush. I can say maybe their chief commander. Let me put it that way. Their chief commander. He called me because I should come. So where am I going? I said, I don't know where I thought this is the route my people passed. Now told me to come. So when I got to him, he told me that I should take this route, that this is the route he took. So I now run to the direction he told me they took, so he followed me. So as I was running, I was looking at the back so that he won't shoot me. So we trekked from that place, like, let me say, like 40 to 1 hour to where they provided motorcycle, bike, Okada, that took us from that bush to near the nearest village.
Okay, so when
it was for like, let me say, 1 hour 30 minutes to that village, they now stopped. They said they can't go further again. So that was where they stopped and they told us to move with our leg. Okay. So we moved for 1 hour 30 minutes with our leg, both the principal, the VP, the staff, the students, and the purpose. So we trekked for 1 hour 30 minutes before we get to where those things are going to rescue. Government sent to come and rescue us with.
All right. So this story doesn't work with what we were told, that they stormed the place and they released these people. Or am I getting it wrong?
So
this is the counselor. This is one of the counselor survivors. So.
Of course. I've read all these story. I've read it. You know, that is the problem. I think that is also why Makinde is calling for independent international investigation. That might be the rationale behind this call, which is quite, it's quite okay for him to do that. My approach to all this is that the government need to talk to us. Federal government need to talk to us. The commander-in-chief need to talk to us. A lot of people don't believe in the kidnapping in Nigeria anymore. Some people don't believe. Some believe that it's a government, is the government that is orchestrating the kidnapping, that is orchestrating the release. You know why that become really ridiculous is the fact that, President Jonathan told us that Boko Haram has infiltrated his government and the military. So this whole matter is going to degenerate further, except there is a radical approach to solving the problem. So when the victim are saying that they were released, they were not rescued, and government is saying that they rescued through operation that led to the killing of even some soldiers, then who do we believe?
Just before you continue, I just want to point out that one of the teachers told the media that the kidnappers started washing our clothes when we began to smell. That was why we looked very clean when we were released.
So, the whole thing, there has to be a societal approach to solving the problem. This cannot continue like this. All over the country now, in Benue, of course, we all know Maiduguri, Borno is the center of the kidnapping. Benue, Zamfara, all the northwest now, and north central, are now den of kidnapping. And even the southwest, Ekiti, Kwara near Oyo State. Oyo State has experienced it. So we have to really stop this problem from a societal approach. What is it that the Arewa Consultative Forum, the Northern Emir, can do for us so that their children, their elementary children, and all sort of their, Islamic fundamentalists, all sort of their unemployed youth joining criminal gangs, of course, including people migrating from Sahel, how will they help us so that the entire country will not be under the rule of kidnappers? Because our soldiers have been stretched thin. The military has been stretched thin. The police has been stretched. I don't even think state police can help in this matter anymore. There has to be a really societal approach to solving the problem. So you look at all this information we are hearing now, we don't even know which one is which. We don't know who to trust now, whether we should trust the federal government or the state government or even the victim themselves or even the military. It's a crazy situation we have in Nigeria. Terrible one. And to cap it all, our commander-in-chief is only interested in microeconomics, how to make money, and then, micro can be anything, and then he doesn't talk to us. He's only interested in 2027 now. How we snatch it and run with it. So that is the problem we have. And the opposition themselves are not getting themselves together, because that is actually the main topic of our discussion today. The opposition, they have played into his hand. He is demobilizing them. Okay? So we are in a really, really precarious situation in Nigeria now. And many people are not paying attention to it.
All right. At this point, we will take a break. When we come back, we go to the main topic. Can a healthy democracy exist without a vibrant opposition, independent judiciary, and a free press? We'll be right back with Dr. Salako, who is our guest, columnist for the Tribune. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't want to go outside what we are doing. I would have asked a question. When there was a picture showing one of our senators in a plane massaging the leg of a girl. Senator Shibole, Senator, your very good friend, Senator Lalong, came to give me security information. He said we just ignored the massage because we thought it was AI. But if you have another evidence, we have a petition before us. We can look into it if it's not AI. But in the meantime, my colleagues, the Senate in the committee.
to travel to New York City to attend a FIFA reception at Trump Tower, followed by his attendance on Sunday at the FIFA World Cup between Spain and Argentina. His attendance will cap what has been the most watched, most secure, and most successful World Cup in American history. This is a fitting conclusion to a tournament that showcased America's ability to host the world on the grandest stage.
All right, welcome back everybody to this special edition of 90 Minutes Africa. The World Cup is happening. I don't know. I'm not sure if you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Okay, all right. I found myself. I was looking for myself. Thank you so much.
Thank God we find you.
Yeah, I was worried. So far, all the odds are that Spain will win. I just got a message from one of my crack reporters saying that Drake, the musician, is betting $1.5 million that Argentina will win.
Okay.
And should Argentina win instead of Spain, he will get something like $3.5 million.
Okay.
So it's not just a game; it's also business for so many people. But again, thank you for staying. Thank you for watching. We're here with Dr. Salako, who is energy experts, but also a columnist at the Tribune in Nigeria and a member of the editorial board. The editorial board, most people don't know what the editorial board of a newspaper, what they do. Dr. Salako, can you remind people at home? Because it's the tradition. It seems to have been off the radar so much. What do you do as a member of the editorial board?
Okay, very interesting question. In the editorial board, and I think this should be probably applicable to other news organizations too, but I'm talking specifically in the Tribune editorial board. Editorial board comprises of people who are well versed in their area of endeavor. In our own editorial board, for instance, we have lawyers, a senior lawyer, we have political scientists. I'm actually about the only engineer or scientist there. We have linguists, all sorts of people with different background. And many of us have PhDs. There are professors among us. What we do is issues that are happening in the country, matters of interest, several matters going on. We review them. We look at them from different perspectives. We meet every week. In fact, as a matter of fact, it's usually 6 a.m. here when we meet. In Nigeria, it's 12 p.m. So we meet for like 2 to 3 hours every week. We will analyze issues and take a position on behalf of the Tribune. And then we write it as editorial collectively. So it's a wisdom. When you see editorial published by a newspaper, it's a wisdom of many people put together to take a position. Take, for instance, I can give you an example, of Al-Majiri Commission in Nigeria. One of the terrible things our politicians in the National Assembly, shame on all of them. All of them. They use Al-Majiri Commission to award road projects. We just spoke about Imai recently in this conversation. They were awarding road projects through Al-Majiri Commission, and Al-Majiri Commission is doing road projects in Ogun State. Where are elementary are in the north. Out of school children, although out of school children is all over the country, but more populated in the northwest. So that commission is supposed to be doing, to be taking care of those children and putting them out of the street. That is their job. They now put road projects in that commission, and they are doing road projects in Ekiti State, in Ogun State, all over the country. What kind of country is that? So those are the kind of things we treat, and we take a position on them. Okay? When we take a position on them, we write it in the newspaper. Hopefully, some of them in the Senate or House of Rep or in National Rock will read it and take a correction, a corrective measure, hopefully. That is what we do in editorial board.
So, do you have the ownership of the paper involved in that process?
That's a good question. I think in our own editorial board, it has been largely, I have not seen any involvement of the ownership of the paper interfering in our activities. In fact, if they do, that will be, I will just leave. Because if they interfere, I will take my leave. But they have not been interfering. I think it is the culture that late Chief Obafemi Awolowo laid down. And I think they are following that. It's a paper that they don't interfere in our activities. It is whatever we decide we do that we do. In fact, the managing director of the board, of the newspaper, managing director of the newspaper, you know, I spoke with him some times ago. He said, you know, that if I have observed, he doesn't interfere in our activities. I said, yes, I don't see you interfering. He said, that is how it should be, you know, when we had conversation. So in Tribune, they don't interfere in what we write, you know. It's purely what we do, yeah.
Okay, so that's very important. Now, what about reaction to the editorials? When I was in the newspapers in Nigeria, we had sometimes in situations where newspapers will put the editorial on the front page. So if the country is going through a serious situation and they need to scream and say something has to be done about this, they move the editorial from the inner pages to the front page. It has happened several times, especially during military administration.
Yes, yes.
So has there been any situation where the editorial board of the Tribune, have they taken a decision like that, radical decision, say we are going to say this is very important and we are putting it somewhere that people will read it? And has there been any pushback by anybody to any editorial that you wrote or that
there has never been a pushback to our editorial.
Even the people who you are talking to. So when a newspaper writes an editorial, it could be, let's say this situation with Makinde.
Okay.
And the newspaper Tribune decides that, look, they have to tell Makinde that this idea of inviting foreign, I'm not saying that's what the paper, inviting foreigners, that is not the right thing. And they publish the editorial. And then sometimes the government or the person you address your editorial to might react by saying, putting a call to the newspaper. Has there been anything like that?
Well, I wouldn't know that.
Okay.
I wouldn't know that. The truth of the matter is that every member of the editorial board, we are, because one of our members is the chairman, a professor of political science. And sometimes I've also been opportune to lead the discussion in his absentia. But the matter is that we are all encouraged to bring topics for discussion. And the secretary of the editorial board is actually a staff of the Tribune, which is a way of, is also the one liaising to the organization when we need to talk to the organization, so which is right, which is okay, so they also bring topic to us, to discuss. Topical matter, things happening in the society, in the country. So whenever a particular topic is very, we consider it very important, it can go into the front page. We can ask them to put it in the front page. Sometimes, but they have the final decision on that, to accept to put it in the front page or to put it in the middle page.
Has there been any editorial you remember that you guys decided that should be on the front page?
Actually, I mean, like the issue of electricity financing, where government said they are paying trillions of dollars to Genco and Disco, and we realized that that issue was repeated within 1 year or 2 years. We wanted to clarify from government to tell us which is which, because you can't say few years ago, you can say you pay Genco and Disco $6 trillion naira, and then another year after, you pay the same amount of money. We needed clarification. So we thought, some of us thought that should be put in the front page, but probably the idea came late, before they went into press. Okay, so, but I didn't see that as a pushback. In fact, there are some editorial that we didn't even think should go into the front page, that the paper decided to put in the front page, even though we wrote it, from the editorial board. So it's a balance. It's a balance between the role of the editorial board and the role of the paper itself. Sometimes you don't want to usurp the authority of the newspaper management, and they don't interfere in what we write too. They don't tone down our voice, and they don't ask us to raise our voice. We are independent.
Very good. It's very important that most of us don't understand how the media works. It's also very sad that most people don't read the editorial of a newspaper, especially what you just described, the process, how many people come together to decide on what should be, and the discussion, the conversation before.
Very hot.
Yeah,
very hot.
Yeah, the debate. I've been there. I know what happens. I was there in Nigeria during the time I was in the editorial board. So, but let me just use this opportunity to address one comment on the comment section, because I might forget it when we keep going down the road. This guy, Deji, was saying, when will you invite at least a neutral guest? Even if you are biased, we'll not let you invite a pro-government guest.
Am I an anti-government?
So, no, it's not even that. The point, I felt like it's a good teaching moment. So I've said on this program that I have a long list of potential guests, people that I dream of having here. And I have people that I'm constantly reaching out to. There was a time I announced that one of Tinubu's spokesperson will come on this show. He actually told me he will come. But my guess is that he reached out to the people at the top and they said, don't go. Otherwise, it's been more than a year. So we're constantly looking for guests. We don't discriminate on who we bring here. Anybody who, if you know any government official, if you know the president and he wants to come here, we are going to welcome him.
It will be interesting for me to be having debate with people in government now, and you moderating it. That will even be more.
We are open to that, but they don't want to talk. And they don't want to come here. It's not because we don't want them to come here. We don't. I don't care who.
And that is the problem with us.
Yeah.
We don't like debate.
Yeah.
We are afraid of debate. And democracy cannot thrive when people don't debate issues.
And not just debates, even, or to listen to the other side. Because that's what
is the debate.
Yeah,
that is the debate.
I know.
Listening to the other side, looking from other perspective.
Because
disagreeing and agreeing.
If we started with Umahi, even if Umahi wants to talk to the press, Umahi should be able to say, okay, I want to talk to the press. I don't care what the police said they're doing. I will talk to the press and I will take questions. But he wasn't taking questions from people. And if you ask him questions he doesn't like, he will get mad.
It's a one-way conversation.
That's not communication. Anyway, so I just wanted to point it out. And I always have this interest in making sure, because the media is very important. I know that everybody is a journalist now. Everybody is in the media. Everybody is a content creator. But there's still that role that professionals play, that stories are verified before they are published. The one that you have your camera, and some people get to be in the front row where something important is happening. But because of that lack of professional training, you can see a wonderful video, but they will never tell you when this is happening, what day, where. They just go straight and say, it's happening now, we're live. This is, so there's that, it's still that professional part of it. All right, let's start from the beginning. Healthy democracy. Do we have one? Is the Nigerian democracy healthy? After how many years now? I think we've done this for 20-something years, the Third Republic or the Fourth Republic. Why is it not healthy?
We don't have, I think people have said that we have civil rule. We are not yet having democracy if we want to go by the Abraham Lincoln 1863 definition of democracy. Okay? We don't have democracy yet. Abraham Lincoln defined democracy as government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So, government of is democracy we have today is of the people, really. When votes are being bought, when elections are being rigged, and judiciary is the one declaring the winner, okay, when party primaries are being contested hotly and being considered not properly organized. So it's our democracy of the people. Certainly, you may say it is, partially, because the people deserve the kind of democracy they have also. But in the sense of what we have generally accepted it to be, that democracy is government of the people, it is not. It is only of the few who can buy votes, the few who have the ability to get the judiciary, on their side, generally speaking. But in some instances, we still see few people being elected truly by the people. Okay? So we cannot say absolutely 100% it is not of the people. Now, is it by the people? The concept of by the people is where we now have free press, where we now have the opposition, who are supposed to be the guardian, the democratic guardian, what I call democratic guardian in my upcoming book. I identify the courts as democratic guardian. I identify lawyers as democratic guardian. So in this case now, we are talking about the press. and independent courts. The opposition, identify opposition as democratic guardian too. So when you say government by the people, it is not only government by the president or by the Senate, but it is by the people. The Senate cannot pass a law or House of Rep pass a law without involving the people. Look at the electoral law they passed. You know, it is very controversial. You know, a lot of people have said it does not reflect the yearnings of the people. When they went around to get input from the people, what the people asked for, you know, and they wanted to pass what the people asked for, and all of a sudden they change it. So that means it is not by the people anymore. Now, we talk about for the people. For the people, you will want democracy to lift, to have a mechanism of lifting people out of poverty. Okay? You want to have a democracy to have a way of providing security for the people. Do we have that? Certainly not. So our democracy is unhealthy. You know, it is very unhealthy. Or maybe we say our democracy is still in the infancy. It's still in the infancy, because when you look at it, the man in charge now has an history of opposition, fighting for democracy. You know, we have to give him that credit. Okay? But he's also the same person now amassing power. Okay? Amassing power using all sort of, you know, things that we can be suspecting, you know, to consolidate power to himself. And I tell you one very vivid example. This is a man that barely 2 years into his government, people started accusing him of, you know, trying to create a one-party state. And I put that into my book, upcoming book as well. Many people did not pay attention to his speech, June 12, 2025, in the People's House, in the Senate, in the National Assembly. I think it's the House of Rep. You know, when he gave the Democracy Day speech, he was debunking the insinuation or the claim by the people that he wanted to turn Nigeria to one-party state. He said people should realize that he fought in the opposition, which is right. People should take note that he was a strong fighter for democracy, which is right. But you cannot tell us in the same speech where you are defending your democratic credence as somebody who rose from opposition to the ruling, to become president. You cannot be telling us that, which is okay, which we know, which we give you credence to, and in the same speech, telling us that it is your pleasure to see the opposition in disarray. That is contradictory. That is revealing that you are just saying it for you to remind us of your credential. You are probably meaning to demobilize the opposition. That is when the opposition should have paid attention to that double speak from the president. You know, so it is tantamount to having, you know, I usually use Yoruba analogy. You have an Iyaloja. Iyaloja is the head of the market. A market woman, head of the market women. You cannot have Iyaloja without the market women. Can you? It is not possible. It is the market women that we congregate to have an Iyaloja. And now, Iyaloja should strive to ensure that there is competition in the market. Otherwise, he's going to lose her own opportunity to be the market woman leader. Now, if you are a Iyaloja and you are saying, okay, I want competition, I want everybody to live, to sell their product, I want free market. You cannot at the same time say that it is your pleasure for other market women to have misfortune or for their shops to be razed by fire. It is not possible. So that is the angle into which I read President Tinubu's approach to issue of one-party state. And what he said is making the democracy unhealthy in Nigeria. Right now, I don't think we have opposition that is ready to compete with him in 2027 with all the court cases. But at the same time, we cannot be one-sided. The opposition too are playing to his hand. They know him to be a pragmatic politician, but they are also playing to his hand. They are being, for the lack of better word, they are being foolish for not working together. They think they can defeat him by not working together. It's impossible. This is a man that is very pragmatic, very practical with power. But when we talk about press, because that concerns you and I, a man who enjoyed the benefit of the press when he was in the opposition should not now turn around and be using cybercrime and all sorts of things to suppress the press, to suppress free speech. It is not done. It is going to boomerang on him eventually. He also has a media house. You know.
How is it going to boomerang? What do you mean by that?
It will boomerang eventually because, you know, I mean, the country is not set up for autocracy. Even when we have the military were forced out of power. They didn't want to go freely. Not to talk of him, who is not a military person. It will boomerang eventually. It cannot hold.
Okay, let's look at the judiciary because the three aspects, they have to come together for you to have a healthy democracy. The judiciary in Nigeria, they've not shown to Nigerians that they can be independent. There are many, many instances where they have failed the country. Now, a good example is election. When cases get to them, in most cases, they give the impression that, especially the presidential election, they cannot, because of the cost of redoing it, they cannot rule on the merits. They go for technicalities. But we know that in Kenya, the judiciary there in 2017 essentially said that this election was not credible. You have to redo it. And today, the election process in Kenya is as good as you can find in any other part of the world, because the politicians now got the hint that if they do the shenanigans they do everywhere, that they may have to go back and redo it. The judiciary in Nigeria, they've not shown people any reason to believe that they are independent of the government, especially when we have governments now that are building houses for judges. Let me play this video for you and give you a reaction at the other.
I'm aware of it.
We have got to a stage in the country where we need to challenge the special privileges given to the rich and top public officers in the country. Yesterday, I was watching the telly. I was very sad when I saw that the federal government was handing over the keys of houses to judges. And I asked myself, under what law are we operating from? Because it's discriminatory and illegal. You must treat equals equal in our country. So you can't take out judges. Judges are entitled to accommodation, by the way. They must live comfortably, they must well secured. But other citizens must be equally provided for. If you don't do it, you can be challenged. And that is going to happen very soon. Because what is good for the goose is good for the gander. If you have a professor who also has to render services to the society, and those professors are not paid well, nobody talks of providing houses for them. Now, they were living in rented quarters. These days, there are not enough quarters for them. So we must also look at that. If governors who are in the National Assembly, about 21 of them, are taking salaries from the National Assembly and jumbo allowances, and they are also entitled to a house in the state where they govern for 4 or 8 years, and another house in Abuja, and you have a civil servant who has worked for 35 years, and it's just turned out at the end of the day. So we must insist that equality before the law in our country is respected.
All right, that was Falano talking about how we treat judges in the country, mentioning specifically this idea of the houses that were built by Wike. Now, compare that to the United States, where you have Supreme Court judges appear before Congress to press. They were demanding that, based on one of the arguments was that based on the need for more security for them, that they need the budget of the judiciary to be increased. They did not go to the mayor of Washington, D.C. or the governor of Virginia did not just go and build houses for them or hire police to provide police for them. They went to Congress, and it's Congress that decides who should get what money, not the mayor of the capital. So is the judiciary in Nigeria independent? Are they able to deliver on their mandate, which is in the Constitution, which is to hold the other two arms of government accountable?
You see, this is very, very saddening situation we have in Nigeria. When Wike, by the way, you know that Wike is just representing the president in the Federal Capital Territory. The president is the governor of the Federal Capital Territory. Mm-hmm. So whatever he does is the president that is doing it. So the handing of houses to judges is indirectly being done by the president. And I like how Falana compare that with the professors. Recently, I saw that the Federal Ministry of Education, they provided free interest loan to university lecturers. And I said, that is a good idea. People can take that loan, probably build a house they want, or buy a car for themselves, or do anything they want to do, since it's a free interest loan and they will pay back. I do not see why that cannot be done by the Ministry of Justice for the judges. I do not see why Wike, a minister of Federal Capital Territory, will be doing what he's doing when we have a Ministry of Justice. So what should have been done is for the Ministry of Justice, in conjunction with the Judicial Council, National Judicial Council, to provide necessary facilities to make life easy for our judges. But unfortunately, even these judges, they do not see it fit that it is unethical for them to take what they are taking. That is the problem we have in the country. They need to see it fit that it is unethical. If Wike and the president are unethical and they don't even know the right thing to do, you know, I expected that the president or the National Assembly will say, okay, no, this is not right. We have the Nigerian Judicial Council, the Nigerian Judicial Commission. We have the Ministry of Justice. Those are the people that should be responsible for the welfare of the judges, not Wike. I do not know what the system we run in our country. You know, there is no way no other way to say it that it is unethical, it is not good for our system.
Okay, one last question on this topic, press freedom. You touched on it before, which is the idea that somebody, you might say something on this platform against someone and they will call the police and file a report, and you are going to be picked up, you are going to be locked up for cyberbullying or whatever, for insulting the person or for defamation. And you can be locked up for days, and they will demand that you have to bring the king of your hometown and bring 200 million for you to be released. And it happens every day. The ones we hear are the ones of people who, like Showere, or people who have contacts in the media. But government officials, they just walk into a police station. They don't even go there. Just send for the police officers to go and pick up somebody. Then there's a petition against the person for saying something. There was a case of one guy who did a video where he used AI to generate the voice of Tinubu, where Tinubu was saying certain things. Now, somebody used that video and used the image of a very dark man, and it became big. Immediately, they picked the guy up somewhere in Delta State, and he's locked up somewhere now. We don't know the case, because if it's not a famous person, if it's just a small kid somewhere, you are gone. So what do you think about the chilling effect it's having on free speech? And if you don't have free speech, if you don't have the ability to question the government, and the government that is not releasing information to you, how will that democracy survive?
Yeah, well, I have said it earlier on that the people we have in the public offices need to have thick skin. Having said that, and I will come back to that, but having said that, free speech is not a license for recklessness. Anyone who wants to make a speech or react to what is going on in the society should do it with good intention, should do it with the intention of correcting or exposing anomalies truthfully. You know, so there has to be a law guiding the way people behave. But that does not mean to gag free speech. I mentioned earlier on that the Cybercrime 2015 law, section 24, uses some languages that are subjective. Languages like somebody says something offensive, which I've said here, even in this program today. I've said I'm disappointed in Tinubu and Makinde concerning the kidnapping in Oyo State. Tinubu may find it offensive, Makinde may find it offensive. But does that mean that I have broken any law? No. But they said in the Cybercrime 2015, section 24, they said offensive languages, insulting, annoying, causing ill will. These are laws that should not hold. And there is an example of Stanley Ugagbe, who has been thrown into Kuje prison until September. You know, something that is bailable. They are already punishing him for a crime that has not been ascertained. These are the things I want us to pay attention on. You know, it is really, really terrible that under Tinubu, a Democrat, we are having this kind of thing. There has to be an attention. We have to find a way of ensuring that the National Assembly pay attention to this. You know, that they do not cause our society to be a banana republic where people cannot talk again. We also have to educate the public that in the use of, because the use of AI, I'm an AI expert, there are several ways you can use AI for propaganda, for malicious behavior in the society also. So we have to balance it. But on the part of the government, they cannot use cybercrime law to gag the dissenting voice. It is not correct. And we have to stand against that.
All right, thank you. Let me just point out that there's a story, one of the bloggers, this is a story of, I forgot the name of this guy, Ifeanyi, I believe, who made up stories about Charles Soludo and his son. And eventually he was arrested. He made a video where he apologized for making up stories. He's a publisher of Igbo Times. He called his platform Igbo Times. And he published so many stories. And if you see the stories, you know they're not right. So while we push on the government to say that you don't silence people, we also have to point out that, you know, this issue of journalism, which people don't understand, why there is a need for professional training for someone to say you are a publisher, you're a reporter, so you understand the ethics of the profession. When this guy was asked, why were you doing that? He said he was trying to put out stories that would trend so that people will come to his website and so that he will make money from Google. And so there are a lot of people on YouTube who just want you to click on their video. They will say anything, give it any caption. That's not right too.
It's not right.
Sometimes when people in the media talk about it, people think that they are trying to protect their profession. They are trying to make it exclusive, that they are trying to close the gate. Because so many people now, the gate is wide open. Anybody can be a journalist, and they are trying to stop people from being journalists, you know. But there are consequences. If you have been at the receiving end of a fake story, you will know that it's not something that you want for your enemy. Fake stories, they travel far. By the time you are correcting it, people may not even know that you corrected it. And the corrections, even in newspapers, are always smaller than the main story that they put out there. So there's that side of the story of, and that's why we want to make sure that the sources of stories that we share are credible sources.
Yes.
But again, we are living in a world where every credible source is now considered either liberal or conservative, either fake news. And then who do you depend on? Is it this guy, Igbo Times, who essentially is somewhere in Oka or somewhere in one village putting out a website, and people are reading it and people are believing it? If you're a victim of that, you want that corrected. All right. So thank you, Dr. Salako. Let's get our people involved in the conversation. Let me start with you, Mr. James. You came first. Go ahead. Mr. James, you're muted.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I would have loved to comment on your opinion on South Africa, but it will be time consuming. So I've decided to ask a very short question. I'm of the opinion that Nigeria is beyond redemption. What is your take on it? That's my question.
It is not beyond redemption. I first of all, I appreciate the angle where you are coming from. Okay, but nothing is beyond redemption. Most of the countries where we are scattered all over the world, they have gone through terrible situations, like we are going through. The only concern I have for Nigeria is that we are not showing readiness to redeem appropriately. First of all, I don't believe our 36 state is the right federating unit. I believe maybe 6 or 7, at most 8 federating units, regional federating unit. That's what I believe. And that is what I believe that we should devolve maximum power to. Enough federalize. We need to federalize properly. And each of those regions should have their own constitution. Just like in the US here, that each state here has constitution of their own, apart from US constitution. And of course, the constitution of each state is subordinate to the Constitution of America. So also if we have like 6 or 7 regions, and people like Chief Emeka Anyaku, has led some Nigerians to present something to President Tinubu, but he has not worked on it. The same way Jonathan did not work on it. The same way Buhari, who inherited Jonathan's conference, did not work on it. And this man in prison now, former Kaduna governor, El-Rufai, headed the APC restructuring team. And they submitted a report to Buhari. It's in the cooler. So we are not showing any readiness to redeem the country appropriately. We cannot have 36 states. It is irredeemably terrible for us to run Nigeria appropriately with 36 states. 36 states that we go to Abuja to collect money. We need to refederate into 6 or 7 regions that will be able to almost be semi-autonomous and be contributing to, and then we have the center as it is. And then even if they will get money from the center, they will also be able to run their region appropriately, like we run states in America appropriately. That is the only way we can redeem the country. Every other way, I do not see a redemption there. That's my answer for you, sir.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. James. KJ, you're next.
Yeah, thank you. So, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon. And I've listened to you, and I like what you say and how you sound. Yes, you have actually, even though you say you're not practicing, journalist, you have shown that you quite understand what's going on. You just don't want to take the title. So I put the title squarely on your table.
Okay.
Well done. Now, just today, before I left the church now, I go to a white church, and what they are talking about was the polarization of the world. And I couldn't but help to bring it down to Nigeria. And what was they talking about? They were talking about how the world is now polarized. We only have, now you're not allowed to be a free thinker. You're either at the far left or the far right. And that is what the media carry. And this far left and far right are just about 7% of the world. The rest of us are at the middle. But this this two polar system don't want us to be heard, because they are always mouthing and shouting higher than every other person. But the danger in it is why I'm going to. The danger in it is that in a country like Nigeria, where that is very prevalent, you find out that one of the resultant effects that people now run from polarization, they run to, first of all, the media introduces the fear, and then fear results to all of us running into our tribal lining, and eventually the continuation of the breakdown of the society and all that. And one of the problem is that most nations do not come back from this. Now, why were the Americans talking about this? They're saying about talking about their own nation. That people, whether you are a Republican or a Democrat, what you should know is that the humanity stands far beyond your political affiliations. Now, just opposing that with Nigeria, do you think, that's my question now, do you think that we have not gone beyond this point where we can now say our tribe or our region really does matter? And I'll give you two examples, then you can go ahead. In the north and Nigeria as a whole, mineral resources belong to the federal government. But since mineral resources began to be found in the north, it has become the state that owns it. And they can now mine and give something to the federal government. But again, I'll take you back to recent development. In Imo State, it has been discovered that they have the highest oil gas reserve in West Africa. But now there's a bill in National Assembly saying that that region of Imo State should now be carved out of Imo State and joined to another state. I don't want to call the state's name. Okay. And the question is, why do you want to remove Igbo speaking, not only Igbo speaking, but a place that is now called Imo State, and join it to their neighbors, where will take them out of the southeast? Now, if you see my initial premise on this question, you see that what these people are talking about in a church concerning their own society is already being implemented in another part of the world, where now you see that a particular set of people do not have the right to have something good. It has to be moved to another. What do you see? And if you see anything different, do you think this nation, this thing we now call Nigeria, has any more kick to survive as a nation? Thank you so much, and I really appreciate your.
Well, let me break down what you have said. There are three ways to. I think three things that I mentioned here. You mentioned Imo gas, and I like the fact that energy is my area of expertise, and then mineral resources. I have my first degree in geology. I understand mineral resources very well. I've written about it. When the North were castigating the federal government for setting up, the federal government set up a gold refinery in Lagos, which was actually set up by a private establishment. But the Northern Elders Forum were using that maybe for political, really. They wanted the gold refinery to be set up in the north, where gold is more abundant, especially in Zamfara. The problem we have is this, and I've said it. The only solution to our problem in Nigeria is to refederate into 6 or 7. You mentioned region. There is no way. No matter, I just said earlier on that as a Yoruba man, I'm disappointed in Makinde and Tinubu, the way they handled Orire, the kidnapping in Orire. The people who came to Orire to kidnap Yoruba teacher, they beheaded a teacher. A Yoruba man cannot behead a teacher, no matter what. But the people who came from the northeast, Boko Haram. So we have a different cultural setting in the country, but we are running a unification of Perry. I call it unification of Perry. There is no way we can run a country like that, where you will say the oil, we all have to spend the money of the oil, and then we now have minerals in the north, and bandits are stealing the, people are using bandits and foreigners, Chinese, some elite in the north are stealing the minerals. The minister of solid mineral, he cried out about 2 years ago that people who are involved in the illegal mining, they are very powerful people. And I was wondering, who could be more powerful than the government, who has monopoly of violence? You know, so when you look at that, you will know that our country is in a deep mess. But when you look at it from the angle of regional federation that I've just mentioned, each region is blessed. If you look at the Northwest, if you can carve out some part of the Northwest, maybe Kaduna South, you know, to be part of the Middle Belt, we can restructure a little bit. We have 6 geopolitical zones now. We can restructure that into maybe 7 or 8. People can go into where they think they belong. The Imo people you just mentioned, they are Igbos. They will be part of the Southeast. Nobody will take, I think what you said is a proposal, and I don't think it will pass through. You know, so they own whatever they have in their land, and federal government is also part of the owner. So it's going to be a concurrent ownership. We all sign into having a one nation, a one state, one country. But we will be able to maximize our resources if we do refederation along the regions. Because each region will be big enough to manage the resources appropriately for the benefit of their region and the benefit of the country. But what we have now is people stealing the resources en masse. Even the oil we have, some people are stealing it all around the country. So we have a problem that cannot be solved with unification. Our leaders of the past, they have made a mistake. In my upcoming book, I really dedicated one chapter for Chief this renowned professor of Constitution from the Southeast, Professor Ben Nwabweze. Professor Ben Nwabweze. He regretted before he died that the Constitution we have cannot bring unity to the country. That is the only way we are doomed to perish as a country. And, you know, Chief Emeka Anyaku, he said, we either restructure or we perish. That is also in my book too. I analyze all of this. We are in trouble. We cannot function as a country like this. Okay, look at it this way. The North, they have a culture of having mass children, giving birth en mass. Some of these children, they have a culture of putting them in a Quranic school where their parents abandon them and they become menace for the society. Many of them are now being recruited into Boko Haram, into terrorism. And now they are terrorizing not only the North, but they are terrorizing the Southwest now. And Tinubu is sitting there looking. He has the opportunity now to lead the restructuring of the country, whatever it may take. Okay? So that is the problem. We cannot, even the North is not having, the North is even at the receiving end, most receiving end now. Either they like it or not. Only restructuring can help them out of the problem they are facing. And all of us. So you mentioned that there are two polar extremes. And that is as an American, I'm a Nigerian and I'm an, so as an American now, I want to talk as an American now.
Is it me?
You know, as an American,
okay, I thought I was the one.
as an American now, you have the Republican, you have the extreme Republican, you have the extreme Democrat. And as you said, those of us in the middle, who wants to balance both sides, we don't have voice. That is where we need to raise our voice in Nigeria. There should not be any other thing now to be talking in Nigeria than restructuring. To be honest with you, there's no way we can manage the country without restructuring. Let the Igbos have a southeast. Let them run their government. Let the Yorubas have a southwest. Let them run their government. Let's collaborate. We have different culture. Let the northwest run their own system. And then, of course, we have a one country. We can rotate presidency. We have to do that. If we don't do that, we are doomed to fail. And that is what Mr. James said, that Nigeria is unredeemable. That is the only time that Nigeria will become irredeemable.
Okay, thank you, sir. My thought there is for even the National Assembly and someone in the National Assembly to even phantom the idea that you can actually take out a people from their ancestral land and the people they identify with and add to another state only because a mineral resources that you think will benefit the people has been discovered. I don't know how to say. It's
preposterous.
Yeah. For
KJ,
anybody
that will not happen. That will not happen, KJ. That will not happen. Because, when people ask for state creation, because what you said is similar to state creation, it will not happen because the Constitution, even the nonsensical Constitution we run, will not make it happen. State creation cannot happen in Nigeria under civilian rule. It is going to be difficult because everybody will be asking for state. Okay, take for instance, the Southeast, and I want you to look at this from a objective perspective, because I've said it that irrespective of population from different regions, irrespective of natural resources from different regions, let each region run their affairs as a federating unit. Now, I want to put it to you. In the Southeast, there are people proposing that Southeast should have 6 states, just like other regions have 6 states. They said that is equity. But I tell you that is not equity. Because majority of people living in the South, majority of people who are native to Southeast are not living in Southeast. They are living in other part of the country. Okay? So, Ibadan, for instance, is almost as big, or your state, for instance, is almost as big as Southeast, entire Southeast. So what is the equity in having 6 states in the Southeast and having, the same 6 states in the Southwest? When the population...
But sir, with due respect, if you don't mind, with due respect, okay. It is the same policy that made the Southeast become this small. The Southeast they've been balkanizing the Southeast for so long. Immediately after the war, they started breaking every part. They took out some parts and added to River State. They took out some parts and added to Delta State. They took out some parts and added to Cross River and Akwa Ibom and even Benue and Kogi State. So why would it be small? Okay. Why would it? These are where you have major people speaking areas.
That's a fair comment. Because I served in Iseluku. I did my NYC camp at Iseluku. Iseluku is Igbo speaking. It's almost close to Anambra. So, and I had Ned Nwoko, or what is his name? That senator.
Yes,
who said they don't want to be part of Delta anymore. They want their own state, Aniocha, and they want to be part of the Southeast. And this is also the reason why I said the current geopolitical zone. Let's take a look at it. What do we need to amend? Do we need to take some Yoruba part? Because Yoruba are also in Kogi.
Yeah.
Yoruba are in Ikwara.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be part of us in the Southwest. So let's do that rearrangement. So part of the Kaduna South, they don't want to be part of the Northwest. Let's do all those rearrangements, okay? And then have regions. Maybe we will have 7 regions or 8 regions. It doesn't have to be 6. Okay, let's do that. Let's allow people to be where they want to be. That is the first thing we need to do as a country if we want to move forward. Any other thing we are doing is not going to take us anywhere. I lived in Scotland. The Scottish people, up to tomorrow, they see themselves as having a different identity from the English. You know, but it doesn't mean that because I have a different identity from you, I cannot work with you. We can run a common country based on understanding. That is always my view.
I agree. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you so much, KJ. Let's go to Pansat. Pansat, welcome.
Thank you very much, Rudolph, and welcome, Dr. Salako,
yes, sir.
And KJ and Mr. James. I was listening to the guest. A lot of his politics are sound, make a lot of sense. And then, towards the end there, he started making some mistakes that a lot of people make colloquially online. For example, one of the things that you normally would see when maps were mapped, when a map is drawn, underneath, there'll be a disclaimer that says, this thing is not drawn to scale. Most maps are not drawn to scale, especially the Nigerian maps. And you don't do statehood or a unit of democracy based on land mass. It's a population. If you look at, for example, Lagos, some cities are bigger than Lagos State. If you take a very good look at it, Borno and Yobe is bigger than all southwestern states put together. But when it comes to the Igbo stuff, even educated Yorubas make a lot of mistakes, the way they talk about Igbos. And then that permeates to the uneducated ones, of which they have a lot in the Southwest. We cannot be proposing things that are very difficult to do. Restructure is a compound word that means a lot of things to a lot of people. But the people who are representing us, they're not going to give up any of the things that mean a lot to them. See, we don't have too much problem, but we do have to solve the very few that are holding us down, right? We talk about resources. Somebody like Dangote is a big problem for our country. You can't say that. He's a very big problem for the country when it comes to our natural resources. We have to identify that and take care of that for one thing. Now, when it comes to what I want to do is to just cut it short. I do want to see the second half of the game. What I want to come on because I see somebody from the Southwest who's educated and who's fair. I gotta tell you, sir, you are one of the few. We have a problem from the Southwest, and you did mention something about the North and the way they deal with our natural resources, keeping the gold and doing things like that, not going to school, not having we have a problem from the the North. But we have a major problem with Southwest and propaganda and lies and not trying to be cohesive and work with those of us who are in the South to pull the country together. Yes, you're going to complain about Tinubu. How is he going to be able to do the things he's supposed to do? He cannot do the things he's supposed to do. He's been a big problem. From 2015, he sunk the country all the way down. Without Tinubu, Buhari would not be president. He sold out the entire South. There's nothing called South anymore. He worked together with Buhari, Northern Muslims, to wrest power from Jonathan after a bunch of lies and propaganda against Jonathan. So he clawed his way in there and had Buhari rig the election for him. So one of the problems that we have to solve in the country is people from the Southwest.
Can I respond?
No, let me just land on. I'm going to land now, and then I will listen. What I mean by that is that unless we solve the problem from the Southwest, we have a problem. It's very, very important.
What is the problem? You keep saying solve the problem. What's the problem?
The problem in the Southwest is that, number one, they are against the Igbos emerging, right? They, for whatever reason, now they may have a good.
Hold on. This is the issue I had with one man the other day.
Yeah.
Who you said they? Are you talking about everybody from the Southwest, including Adebanjo, who was supporting Obi? You can't generalize.
Yeah.
And people
only in this case, can generalization work. Just hold on. Let me answer that. I know what you're saying. That's a big difference between me and what you're one man, because you keep making that statement. I'm an anthropologist, of which there's a little tribal issue in what I talk about. One man is a tribal, a racist, a tribal digger, right? What I'm saying to you, you could stick your head in the sand, Rudolph, if you want. But if you're having a candid conversation, I've said here that the best African we have coming from Nigeria, for one thing, is Delefado to me. That's a pure African, a black man, somebody who's fair. Like I just gave Ola here, Dr. Salako, credit for being open up, looking at all angles and saying the right things. But I also said fairly that he fall into that criticism of talking about something like.
But you are not fair. You are not fair to me. I have to cut you here. I'm sorry. You are not fair to me. When I made reference to the Southeast, the one you are talking about, in terms of land, I also made reference to the population. You know, so when you ask for C state in the current Southeast, and you compare it with the Southwest, the population and the landmass of Oyo State alone, where I come from, is bigger than the entire current Southeast.
That is not true.
Now, listen to me.
You prove that to me now. Prove it.
Go check. Go do your geography. Now,
I'm doing that now. I'm prepared to answer you.
Allow me.
No, but you have to say something that's true.
KJ corrected me and said it's because part of this, what should be part of Southeast, was taken to rivers, was taken to Delta, and I agree with him. Now we are having conversation. And I now said part of the what should be Southwest also is part of Kwara.
No, it's not. It's not the same thing.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's part of Kogi. It's part of Kogi.
Okay, but hold on.
Yorubas are in Kogi. Yorubas are in Kogi. Yorubas are in Kwara.
I know. Let me land.
Listen. You have to have a conversation because you spoke a long time.
But I have not landed my point.
The problem.
You have an issue with my point, but let me land my point.
Okay, Pansat.
Let me land.
Okay.
Yeah, let me land. What I'm saying is that all those colloquial stuff that I bantered about, this is bigger than this, that doesn't have a proof. You have no proof. I just told you maps are not drawn to scale. One of the worst things anybody could do is to have a Yoruba person draw a map that includes the Igbos. He's going to give him the smallest.
Okay. Pansat, stop. The map of Nigeria. We know the size of every state. Niger State is bigger than the whole of Southeast. I don't know why you are thinking that you can.
I just told you.
No.
Right?
It's not about how you appear. Listen, Pansat.
I just told you that Borno State and Yobe State is bigger than the entire Southwest. So what does that mean?
So this is the argument.
I disagree with you.
We don't. Let's pull up your map.
Now we can talk about land. We can talk about population.
Right.
The way we will
the Igbo population is double that of the Yorubas. The Igbo population. Let me say this to you. The Igbo population is over 120 million, double that of the Southwest.
So hold on.
Okay, let's assume you are correct.
No, you can't assume. So this is the thing. The problem we have in this argument is that the population of Nigeria is not clear. It's not known. I can't take any figures coming out.
It's unknown.
We haven't done a census in over 10 years. The Constitution requires us to do
over 20 years.
I'm basing mine on observation.
No,
right?
don't.
It's a
I'm not taking
scientific method.
observation. I'm not taking
No, but
observation.
Rudolph,
Hold on, Fansa. Let me finish.
Don't tell me what the facts
moderator. I'm the moderator.
Yeah, but don't tell me what the facts.
The point is that the population of Nigeria is of no use. Anybody quoting anything is unacceptable. And then, of course, the first question I was going to ask you guys in this debate is, how did we come about the geopolitical zones? What was the premise of that division when they decided? I think when they divided that there should be 6 geopolitical. That's where we have to start so that we can have a discussion that will make sense. So if the idea is that it was based on population, that the people who came about, I don't know what it was. If it was based on landmass, okay, if they said we want to divide Nigeria based on landmass, then you tell me, then we talk about the landmass and whether the landmass will determine. And then remember, the state was happening. The creation of states was happening before the zones. It was during the the Third Republic that they started talking about zones. So this is something that is fundamentally we have to discuss in a professional, credible way, not putting 120 million. You don't know the population of Nigeria, not to talk of Igbo people being 120 million, and not.
Could I respond to you? And then I'm gonna leave because you do have a.
No, you are not leaving. You are not leaving. You have to be here. If you want to have this argument, you have to be here.
No,
but it has to be sequential. It has to be.
I'll take 2 minutes and let me just put it. First of all, I don't disagree with Dr. Salako, right? He's a very reasonable person who's come here. However, it doesn't. I have to criticize some things that I disagree with you. I don't agree with you on everything. Okay, so I'm saying that we went to war in 1967, so we do know what our area is, the Eastern region, right? So there are new nomenclature. Imagine from that you have a bunch of somebody like Rudolph here who come from Anambra State. We may not accept that already. That's a creation of Murtala Mohammed. And Imo State, the 2 recalcitrant states we have in that side of our country, their governors are not listening, right? These units may be reabsorbed into what we call the Eastern region, including Rivers State and so many others, Bayelsa. We are just like playing Monopoly, right? At the end, if it doesn't work out, we have to go back to the state of nature and take back our stuff. Let me just make that by saying to you that some of the things you're proposing, calling restructure, will never be acceptable to all these regions. They're not going to just let you do that. If somebody's a governor of a state, they're not going to let you come and reabsorb it and combine the states and just create maybe 6 federating units. That's not. They might as well let Biafra go there. So that's why I'm trying to say that those who try to distract us with things that don't mean anything, things that are not achievable. That's why I've come in to say finally that what you have to do for us as a progressive from your side, and I'm a progressive from my side, you have to point out that the Southwest is a problem in the country. Too much lies, too much propaganda, not holding on to those who are good from that section. Somebody like, if they refer to me, say something, they say it's an Igbo man. If Obasanjo does something, bringing people, all talents from all kinds of the country, it's an Igbo man. So what I'm saying to you is that that's how you're going to solve this problem, is to call that section out. Nigeria is going to be way up there if this is not going on. You say it now. You have Tinubu and the Northwesterners, Muslims ruling the country, and they sank us. Plot the graph from 2015 when you have other people, talents like Gozo Konjiwala and all kinds of people. Go and plot it. It's like dropping like a rock. We have no democracy. The economy is no good. It's a bunch of lies because you catch them doing something. They're not hiding it. The facts are established.
What question do you want him to answer? I'm trying to follow you also. I'm
okay, good. Okay.
What's the question to him?
The question I want to ask him is, would you go back, tell your people to remove the logs in their eyes before they point to the specks in the Muslims areas and the Southeast areas? Their problem needs to be resolved. That's the question I'm asking. We'll solve it section by section. Thank you very much, Dr. Salako.
You're muted, Doctor. Doctor, you're muted. Hold on, let me see if I can.
Okay, yes, I'm.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, Mr. Pansa, I like your passion for your people. And this is where that is what I always say. No matter how we want to be nationalistic, we all have blood flowing in our body. We'll all have a region, a people, ethnic nationality that we belong to. And that is why you are so passionate about Igbos, about the Southwest, Southeast. And I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Now, when you talk about Southwest, I am disappointed that Tinubu, who is also part of the restructuring campaign, is being gradualistic about it, And I like the fact that Chief Emeka Ayaku of the Patriots have presented a paper. They also look into the fact that we need to regionalize. We need to reduce the number of states to few regions. You may say it is not possible, but we are getting to the point whereby we will realize that it is the only way out of our problem. Now, coming back to what Rudolph said concerning how did we have the current geopolitical zone, I think if you look at the current geopolitical zone, you will realize that each region, particularly the Northwest, the Southwest, the Southeast, they speak common language in each of those regions. They have congruous landed area that look congruous to each other. That is why those states are in one geopolitical zone and they speak almost similar language. Apart from the North Central, which is, a collection of many minorities. And also South, especially the non-Igbo speaking part of South, which were originally part of many of the South that you see now were part of the eastern region of the old. And some of them were also part of the western region of the old. But they were broken into forming South. That's okay, because many of them are not Yoruba speakers. Many of them are not Igbo speakers. But there are Igbo speakers in the South, which could be part of the current Southeast, which when we do restructuring, should be part of the Southeast. That is where I'm coming from. And also there are part of the North Central that are Yoruba speakers. That could be part of the Southwest. Now, Pansa said Southwest is the problem of Nigeria. I do not think so. And many nationalists will not say that. People like Chief Emeka Ayaku, who said that when Awolowo was proposing a federal system that honors cultural differences, that honors our ethnic and languages, which is similar to what we have in the UK. When Awolowo proposed that, Chief Emeka Ayaku said he was in UI that time, and he was saying, no, we have to have a unitary system. We have to have a nationalistic view.
Could I interject 1 second?
But now,
Dr. Salako.
Chief Emeka Ayaku is one of the people. Chief Emeka Ayaku is one of the people who is at the forefront of, federalism, the like that Awolowo proposed those period. And Chief Ben Inwabweze, Professor Ben Inwabweze, before he died, he regretted this kind of constitution that we have because he contributed to it himself and Rotimi Williams. If we want to blame all of everybody has a blame. All region has a blame. Okay,
yeah, Dr. Salako.
There is no region that cannot be blamed because there are people. Look at Rotimi Williams working with Ben Inwabweze to give us 1979 constitution. That is now 1999 constitution. It's a problem. So
let me say that I wasn't talking about what happened in the 60s or whatever. I'm talking about now, because people always say that it's fault of the Igbos because the North didn't want a federated system, and this. I don't want to talk about that. That's just pure nonsense, right? The major thing now, today, what I'm laying on the heads of the Yorubas is that I say it all the time. You know how happy I was when I heard you speaking and you were being fair. Now I have to say that you were being fair. You're not being fair now because you're saying the same things those people are saying. And I'm
still being fair. You only want me to say what you want.
No. So I'm saying, going back to say that whatever our founding fathers did in the 60s, well, let's say Azikiwe made a mistake in the 60s. What does it have to do with Igbos? What does it have to do with today? How can you be trying to form a country to get independence and you don't propose a federal Nigeria, or even like his contemporaries at the time were thinking about having a one unified Africa, so that we can stay away from these Europeans and their wickedness, right? So if somebody was trying something that hasn't been done before, you can't say it's a mistake.
Well, so having a unified Africa does not mean that you are no longer an Igbo and I'm no longer a Yoruba. That is the fundamental problem that we have. Here, the people that formed America that have together, they unify, they have a United States, but they still have their own different constitution in their various states.
Exactly.
So right now, Bernie Wabese said, we have a super constitution in which the federating unit don't have a constitution, that it cannot stand, that it was a mistake they made. That is why I like Professor Bernie Wabese. I dedicated a whole chapter for him because he was a good man. Before he died, he told us the truth.
Thank you for coming, Dr. Salako. Rudolph, thanks for indulging me and the fellow panelists. I'll exit, but I hope to see you again.
Thank you.
I want you to go start the carbon dating from 2015. Okay. That is what our problem is. Tinubu is a big problem for the country. Dangote is a big problem economically for our country. Okay. It rises to the level of economic terrorism and then political terrorism from Tinubu. He brought about this APC. Let's deal with the problem we have first.
But those enabling them from the east.
All of them too.
You don't want to mention them.
No, I'm mentioning them. That's a good point. Those people, see, the difference between the Igbos and the Yorubas is that we embrace Yoruba heroes like Delifara to me, and the Yorubas embrace our worst, right? Like Ozodenjo, Ozodemma, Soludo. That's who they want to embrace. They don't want to embrace Peter Obi, for example, or Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, all those who are modern.
Who told you I don't embrace Ngozi?
You do, but I'm not counting you. I have to check your DNA. I just gave you credit that you're different. That's why I came here.
Who told you? I've just embraced Professor Bernie Wabese now.
Yeah, you did.
In this
I give you credit.
And Chief Ayaku. You see, the problem we have is this. We can go too deep into our ethnicity, which is not helping us. I appreciate us to embrace our ethnicity. It is part of our DNA individually. The Scottish are still looking for independence referendum, another one in England, in Britain now. They want to move away from the English. After 300 years. I think it should even be possible in Nigeria for anybody who wants to leave the union. If you are married to a woman now, if the woman said, if the marriage is not comfortable, the woman can leave, or you can leave. It should be easy. It should be easy. That will even make our marriage more comfortable when we see that. Look at Britain now. They are suffering from their Brexit. Okay? So it should be easy for Yoruba to say they want to go, Igbo to say they want to go. It shouldn't be difficult. And they will bear the consequence.
But if the Yoruba say they want to go, we'll let them go. If Igbo say they want to go, the Yoruba won't let us go. Because if the Yoruba agree, who cares what the North says? We've tried it. We did leave before, don't forget, in 1967. right? The Yorubas never left. If the Yoruba want to leave, we're gonna help them. We're gonna pack their stuff and help them go.
That's another conversation.
Okay. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you again. Where Rudolph is not picking on me, he won't let me talk. So when I see you next time,
you spoke a lot already.
Yeah.
You didn't allow Jagun to speak.
Jagun, welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, good evening. Thank you, Rudolph. And indeed, Baba Salako, Baosa. I'm happy to see you. I'm happy to hear what you said. You have to excuse our Pansat. He's one of our favorites, but he's also a comedian that you don't necessarily have to laugh at. I want to come from a point where I'm not a believer in next year's elections. I don't believe it. I don't believe it should happen or take place. I think it should be boycotted by the people. I believe that the people need to take power back. I believe that the present botch of politicians that we have are pure devils. I don't understand what they have in their hand or what is around them. I believe that they are paid as stool pigeons by the Greater West, and they're still acting like they are the pawns of the West, and they oppress, which is I'm trying to work out if it's
Jagun, your connection is Jagun, hold on. Is it only me or the connection is not good?
Yeah, the connection is faulty.
Yeah. Jagun, we can't hear you very well. Can you maybe you can leave and come back? Maybe the connection will be better. Okay.
No, that's not going to do it. It's the phone, I'm afraid. The phone is when I come to StreamYard at times it does play about. I'm afraid. I'm sorry about that. Am I any clearer?
Yeah. Go ahead. You can hear you now.
No. Okay, thank you very much. Given what I've said, hopefully you heard the way I see Nigeria. And I see Nigeria also very much as on an individual basis. Nigerian people are always doing well. No matter where they are in the country, they are able to progress. However, the amount of bad news that comes out of Nigeria on a regular basis, I don't know if anyone's really paying attention. I mean, there's the bad news of terrorism, which is high. And then there's the bad news of just common health issues that affect our people due to gross stress that the people are under. I mean, I don't know if we're devils in that country. Sometimes I really wonder about the state of our cultures and whether or not our cultures need updating. I believe, especially in the Yoruba culture, I believe that the Yoruba culture is quite oppressive. Even as much as they are enlightened as a people, they have a wide culture. I believe that women in the Yoruba culture oppress their boys, and they take away the confidence of their boys unknowingly. So when their boys become men, many of the times they remain boys. They don't gravitate to becoming men because they've been asked to be quiet. Shut up there. Shut up. Always very barking ways of. I don't understand, Professor. I don't understand our people. Sometimes I don't even like them. Yorubas, I'm talking about. And I'm talking about the whole of Nigeria at the same time. So nobody should count themselves free from what I'm saying, because everybody, it's not me, or it's not me. Everybody behaves in a very childish manner. I personally don't like it. I don't like it. I think we are the ruin of ourselves. I don't know that we can point the finger and blame anybody anymore. We have to really look in the mirror and understand that we are the people at fault. We are the people who have dragged our beautiful country into the mud. I'm extremely upset with us. Extremely. When I read our history, I can see so many ways, so many pathways where we could have won, where we had great opportunity to win. But no, we chose wrongly. We decided to go the wrong way. Why do Nigerians always choose to go left when it's clear that we should be going right? Why are our people like this?
Foundation. When the foundation is wrong,
all right,
there's
thank
nothing
you.
You can do.
Thank you, Jagan. Let me, Doctor, let me ask you this question. It's from what we've been talking about in the last few minutes. So I looked at the regions, the geopolitical zones we have now without knowing the foundation. I know it was Alex Ekweme and the group like first proposed these geopolitical zones, and I think it was Abacha that accepted it.
No, it was Abacha.
Yeah, but look at the I'm looking at just based on landmass. Okay, the northeast is about 272 square kilometers. Northeast, north central 242,000, north central 261,000. South 88,000, southwest 79,000, and southeast 29,000 is the smallest. I've always known that. So when Pansat is trying to tell me that the map we're seeing and the figures we know are not true because of that's totally. It's like people saying that the world is flat. It's not flat, and we have to start making sure people stop saying that. Now that's one. That's one figure. Then the other figure is the population, which we know is not credible, but they use the population to do things in Nigeria. So looking at the population, northwest, the range is what they are saying is 60 million to 67 million. Southwest is second with I'm talking about the current estimate here. It's 48 million to 53 million. South is the third, 29 million to 40 million. Northeast, fourth, 31 million to 36 million. Then North Central, fifth, 29 million to 33 million. Then Southeast is the sixth, 21 million to 33 million. Now, the map of the country, the size of each region, that one is established. There's no question about that. The population, there are questions about that. Now, the people who contest, who are saying that there should be another state in the East, are saying, this is the argument, and it's a legitimate argument, irrespective of how they came up with the geopolitical zones, that knowing how we share resources in the country, and resources are shared based on the number of states you have. Okay,
our population as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's when you go to local governments.
Because your state gets more federal allocation than state like Osun. Osun is smaller.
Okay.
So they get lower federal allocation than.
Yeah, go what you're saying. But the first principle is that you go as a state to go and collect. So if you're a zone and you have 5 states, you're going to collect less than another zone that will have.
Correct.
So let's say the population is equal. Let's say the population is equal, and you decide to give this zone 5 states and give this one 7 states. The ones that are 7 are getting more money than the ones that are 6, and they are of the same population. Remember when Tinubu was governor of Lagos State, there was an issue of the local governments in Lagos. That was why he fought with Obasanjo. There was this number of local governments in Lagos he added
20.
More.
It's 20 originally. In the constitution, it's 20.
Yeah, but the population.
But he
of
added
Lagos,
about 40.
Yeah, but the population of Lagos was equal to
Kano.
And Kano had 40.
40.
So Tinubu was fighting, and it was accurate. He was fighting that you can't give Kano 40 local.
It was not accurate. Look,
what was not accurate?
Tinubu was not accurate. This is the thing.
Okay.
So the population in Lagos and the land mass in Lagos The land mass is not comparable to
Yeah, of course,
Kano.
of course.
But the population, many people living in Lagos, actually, they move from different regions to Lagos. Okay, as at the time they set that thing in the constitution. That is why I don't like, we have a big problem in the country. So they set the number of local government in stone.
Based on what?
Inside the constitution.
Based on
as at
what?
the time they set it, based on population that time, based on the land mass, based on several things they use that time. And the funnest part of it is that all of the people, all of different ethnic nationality were represented in the setting of that nonsense. So it was not as if Hausa are the one that set it up. Are you getting my point now? I've just told you about Rotimi William and Benny Wabweze now. Because everything started from 1979. It didn't just start in 1999. So what Tinubu did, that Obasanjo stood against him, is that, look, you can create whatever you like. What I know is that you have only 20 local government. Those are the people that will collect money. Now, Tinubu now decided all this issue of governors taking over the money of local government started around that time. He now decided that all the money for that 20 that is coming from the federal is going to share it among all including the one he created. He is not supposed to create local government by Nigeria Constitution. Only federal can create local government. But through federalism, states can create local government. That was what Tinubu said, that in a true federalism, states should be able to create local government. But Obasanjo said, we are using national system, unitary system. Only federal has the opportunity to create local government, which we already have in the constitution. No other federation has the list of local government in their federal constitution. It is an aberration.
Okay. So we know the issue. We know the problem. Okay. In the United States, where we live, most people here, this is what happens. After each census, they decide the population of New York is dropping. We're going to take one of the congressional seats in New York and give it to somewhere, maybe North Carolina, because the population is increasing. So the problem I have with Nigeria and Nigerians is that we don't even know how we came to be, how things came to be the way they are. If we don't know how they created local governments, okay, if they didn't use population, they didn't use land mass, how did they create the...
they will claim they use it. They use land mass and population together at that time.
What is the formula that gave Kano 44 local governments?
They have more
Lagos.
Population.
No, they don't have more than Lagos. No,
that time, you don't have the number now.
No, even the number they
That's
presented,
why we need the number
even
now.
the number they presented at that point, okay, Lagos was 22 million, Kano was about 22 million. So, but the question that, and I was supporting Tinubu.
They have more local government because they have more land.
No, you can't use
It's a
land.
combination.
Why are you using
Listen,
land to
It's a
create
combination of land and population. It's not just only population.
Okay, but now you know what it means. If Kano, let's say the population figures are okay, are agreeable.
Correct.
Agreeable. Kano has 22 million and Lagos has 22 million. Okay. And you give Kano 44 local government areas.
Yes.
Give Lagos 22. Now the money you are giving to people in those, I know the land is
more.
It's more, but someone who lives
and majority
Kano,
of them are
someone
even
who lives
majority
in
of them are not even productive.
Don't forget about whether they're productive.
They are
someone who lives in Kano will get 2 times what someone who lives in Lagos will get.
Exactly.
Is that fair?
It's not fair.
Why should that be allowed?
Because we made a mistake.
No, they didn't tell
Our
us
leaders,
how. No, they didn't tell us. They didn't consult us. And that has been the problem with the constitution. Because if they consulted us, people will say it's not fair to say because of land mass you are giving more local government. And the issue is that if you give more local government, you give them more money.
And
you give them more people in the National Assembly. Remember that.
They have more. They are more represented.
You have more representation in the National Assembly,
yes.
Which means that somebody representing Kano State has lower number of people, but he has more votes. Anybody in Kano has more votes than someone in Lagos.
That is why I blame Obasanjo. You know, Obasanjo, many of you don't know. You Igbos, you like him because of the way he talks about nationalism. Many mistakes happened under him.
No, not many mistakes. His foundation, everything wrong in Nigeria started with Obasanjo.
In 1979, we had the opportunity to correct so many things. You know, when Gowon took over from Irosi, and then later Mohammed took over, Northerners are creating a lot of stuff for themselves. And our Southerners, people like Benny Wabweze, people like Rotimi Williams, they are dancing to their tones for their selfish interest. You know, people like Obasanjo also was accepted by Northern oligarchy because of what we use him for. Do you understand now? So the Northern oligarchy have used many Southerners to our detriment in the South, to the benefit of the North. And it is becoming really, really difficult to correct now. Really, really difficult to correct. So, and if we don't correct it, there is no way we can have peace in the country. And it's even worse now. They are the ones that are benefiting the most from this arrangement, and they are also the one that is creating more insecurity for all of us.
All right, let me welcome Victory. Victory, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rudolph.
Dr. Rudolph, you know, you put, I'm sorry, Victor, you put aside my question.
Oh, what was your question?
What's your question, sir?
I asked whether or not the cultures in Nigeria need to be reassembled, because the cultures in Nigeria are not working for the people in Nigeria. They need updating. They need updating.
Sir, Mr. Jagun, your name sounds like a Yoruba name.
It's Yoruba now.
Okay. So, Mr. Jagun, the culture is broken.
Exactly.
The culture we have now is a culture of money. Money answereth all things. It's a culture of selfishness. It's a culture of only me. Let the rest go to hell. So that culture did not start today. That culture become compounded because people in public offices see public office as a way of amassing wealth, not a way of serving people. So it's a culture that does not respect law anymore. So for us to rebuild the culture, it will take a societal approach, a whole societal approach. Everybody, you know, family, religious organization, government, and we need to have somebody at the end of affairs who values character, who values the need to promote culture of communal culture, culture of truth, culture of serving, community service. Okay? So without that, we are going nowhere.
Well, this is my basis. My basis is, how can we carry on? How can we have an election based on the rubbish that we all know that is our founding heritage, as it were? That right now we all behave as pigs. We don't behave as human beings. We're stupefied. What's the point of going to elections next year? Some of the discussions that we're having.
If you don't go to election next year, what will you do?
You'd cancel the elections.
Then
and
what
the
next?
people,
Then you have anarchy. You want to have
no,
anarchy?
you don't. I'm afraid this is how you look at it and how many Nigerians look at it. I
Okay,
have them
what
on
do we
this
do?
channel.
Then what do we do?
Look, I've thought about it. I'm not somebody without a mind. And in my thinking, there should be at least a 3 to 4 year administration that is put up by the people of Nigeria, that actually put the country where it needs to be. You know,
How will that happen? How will that happen?
My brother, you see, we're asking how as though it's impossible. The rubbish that is taking place, how does that happen? Is what I don't understand. So I'm saying to you, sir, I'm saying to you that the people need to take the power back.
I agree with you. But how do we achieve that?
Okay, in taking the power back, you know, somebody like myself that is proposing this, you know, I wouldn't run and hide, even though I don't want my face to be out there. What I would suggest to myself is that I've got a job to do, along with the people who are sitting around the table. And our job is a serious one. We're saying to you, in the next 4 years, in the next 3 years, we are going to put this country back on its feet. And the way we are going to do it is to look at all industries, all business, all geography, and the politics that we build is going to be from this arena. The politics that
you need to run for president.
Wait,
run
sir.
for president.
No, I don't want to run for president. I don't want to be the president. I know who I am. I don't want to run for president, if you understand me. Politics is not my game. It's a stinking, dirty, filthy game. I hope it doesn't stay that way in the terms of Nigeria. What I'm trying to say, sir, is that I, like so many other individuals, don't find Nigeria rocket science in order to make it work. It's not rocket science. We have the people, we have the resources, we have the know-how. All we have to do is build and stop the greed and stop all the negativity even that takes place in this stupid country. You know, I'm so, as I said, I'm so upset because I don't know where our culture ends and where the modernity of the Western culture begins. It seems highly intertwined. And it seems that we have taken the worst of what has been given to us by the West and run with that as opposed to being able to make decisions. I don't believe that Nigerians make good decisions. I don't believe they do. I believe they make stupid decisions as though they are stupid. I'm fed up with Nigerians. I'm fed up with them. Here in London where I live, anytime I get on a plane and I go anywhere, as much as I'm proud to be a Nigerian, I'm fed up with them because they make trouble where there's no trouble to be made, really. You don't have to make trouble. And it's exactly the position that the country is in. The country is being led by troublemakers, by thieves, by gangsters. And these are the people that we've allowed to get in front of us, which is why we keep harping on about the founding fathers. Why do we harp on about our Awolowo? By now, we should have had 10 Awolowos who have taken us to a different level. But those people have been oppressed. They've been oppressed. And that is our society. Our society, including in your own very family, it's a family of oppression. And then that leaks outside into the mainstream, into the world. And the governors, the politicians, they behave as your family behaves, which is to oppress you. Shut up there, small boy. Do you know who you are talking to? Do you know who I am? This kind of rubbish talk all day long. Like I've got to respect it. I can't respect it.
I appreciate where you are coming from. It's a terrible culture of do you know who I am? Who are you? You are just human being like me.
Simple.
All right.
Very simple.
So
thank you, Jagon. Let's go to Victory. Okay. Victory, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Rudolph, and thank you, Dr. Salako. I can't see your name. I'm looking at I'm using my phone. I came in for like several of your conversation you were having with Rudolph, and I just thought that there's some misconception that I need to point out to you. You kept saying this Northerners and Fulani people and all that, but you always forget to, like, they say when you're pointing at people, there's always one hand pointing back at you. You've not talked about the role the Yorubas and the Igbos are doing in that country by not coming together. They claim they are the most educated, they are the most advanced, yet they are letting the Northerners play people with that country for over 60 years now. Don't you think it's hard time that the Yorubas and the Igbos take responsibility for the nonsense that is happening in that country, instead of them fighting themselves and making a mess of themselves in that country? Look at where we are now. Simply because the Igbos and Yoruba have decided to be a miscreant in that country, but decided that they don't want to work together, and they will keep blaming the Fulanis and the Hausas and blah, blah, because the way Nigeria is built, you need two majority to come together to make sure that they can form a government for all sorts. Right? And this is why I get so sick. I'm so sick of every Nigerians. You know what? Right now, I don't even know how I think about Nigerians. They make me so sick that I don't even want to associate with anybody to call Nigeria. If it is benefiting them, they will tell you that, oh, everything is fine, don't worry about it, it's all good. And even here, you made an example. When Shibuwa Uncle was back then, when Awolowo was advocating for what you said, he said no. Because you know, at that time, he was benefiting from the current system. Now the table has turned. This is the same Igbos that are shouting right now. If they get opportunity and Nigeria is favoring them, you will see all of them will become mute. You will never hear from them again. They will tell you that everything is fine. And that's what my own view is, that the only way Nigeria can progress, every ethnic group should stay on their own. Any resources you have, use it to develop that your small area. If it's Gary that you can drink, or you drink your Gary and go to sleep. Because Nigerians are one of the most disgusting people on this earth. When it's benefiting them, they will tell you that everything is fine. Right? But as soon as the table turns against them, they will be shouting and shouting and shouting as if they don't know that this thing has been happening before. You made another statement that, oh, this is literally from what Pansa to have been saying. As soon as I look at Pansa and I say, this man is really deranged. He keeps calling people, come and call people minority, this and that. Who told you that the minorities in that area wants to go with Igbo people? Who did you go and ask that? And who told you that the minority in that area want to go with the Yoruba people? Who did you go and speak to? So people make this kind of sweeping statement that gets me absolutely mad, and I feel like dragging people from the screen. Who told you? Did you go and speak to anybody? Who did you consult with? That you said that, oh, the old Eastern region, the people from the South will go with the Igbos, or they will go with the Yorubas. Who told you that? We want to be on our own. We are capable of being on our own and living at the life that we want to live. In back days, when we had the Eastern region, there were accusations that Igbo people were collecting land over in Port Harcourt. Did you not hear that? When they were the majority in that area. You know what? Nigerians are sick, man. I've come to the conclusion that the average Nigeria is deranged. That there's nothing that can rescue us. We're terrible people. This is benefiting us. We will never say anything. They turn the table around. It's just like what's happening in the Southwest now when they kidnap people in your state. Do you not see some Yoruba people shouting? When they were kidnapping people all over in the north, did you hear Yoruba people talk? And you came to the backyard, they were not shouting. Oh, Tinubu is this, that, because you know why? Because the hand has not touched them. You see people like one man that came here the other day that was saying that, oh, people were happy that the people that are your state, the people that were kidnapped by your state were free. Someone like one man, let people catch him and they flog him with machete. He will be the first person that will come out and be shouting that this people must go. You know why? Because if that thing has not gotten to them, as in directly, I'm telling you, they will say that they won't give it, they won't care. Nigerians are like that. And for me, like I said, I will go back again and I said that it's simple. Jago was talking about, oh, we shouldn't have an election. Me, I'm of that view that the system of government that I would have preferred in Nigeria, every ethnic group bring one representative and will form like a kind of like a general, like a rep that will be advocating for the people of that area. Because are you telling me that if that was happening in Nigeria now, the Yoruba people were picking Tinubu to represent them? No way. So the way Nigeria is consistent now is consistent to fail. And I don't think even it will be that this will be that is here now. So if Obi wins the presidency now, I'm telling you now, you will see that the Yorubas will start going back and start talking to the Hausa people that listen, we want to come and form partnership with you again, just to make sure that they kick out the Igbos again and they come back into that slot. So the problem of that Nigeria has to do with these Igbos and Yoruba people. They don't want to face up to the facts. Take responsibility of what you people have done to that country. People don't want to face up to that.
Victory. Which tribe, which ethnic are you?
It's irrelevant. I don't think it's relevant in this conversation. I'm saying that
because you mention Yoruba Igbo. If you mention Yoruba Igbo, I am Yoruba. Rudolph is Igbo. Which one is you? Because you mentioned Yoruba Igbo in your conversation. That's why I asked.
Yeah, I don't mind. I'm Urobo.
Urobo, I can see. When you said, who told you we want to be part of the East? Because Urobo,
it's not an agitator problem. I'm saying to you that everybody in that country called Nigeria is capable of living the best life they want to live.
I know you are Urobo.
Don't want people to get that WhatsApp. Let people decide. Let people decide their future. What they want. What they want to do with their life.
What type of Delta are you? Which part of Delta are you from? Ugeli or Usoro?
I'm from Ugeli.
Ugeli, okay. The bigger, I think it's the biggest city of the Urobos. I served in Delta. That's why I'm asking. I used to have friends who are Urobos. I even have a friend here. I know this is the way they talk. They talk with passion. And I know. You see, the problem is not necessarily Igbo and Yoruba. It's a general problem. I know you are from more of minority. Urubu are more minority than Yoruba and Igbo. And I think what you don't know is that majority of the problem we have in Nigeria, actually the way Nigeria is set up, is to take care of the minority. Currently, the way Nigeria is set up is to take care of the minority. They believe that if we have region, the minority will be overshadowed. But what I have been proposing is that currently look at the South-South. South-South is a conglomeration of minorities. Apart from some Igbos that are there, and you said, who told you we want to be part of Yoruba or we want to be part of Igbo? It's a plebiscite. There is something called plebiscite. You can do a plebiscite, and the Igbos in Delta, the Aniocha people, may say, okay, we want to join our people in Anambra. The people, if Anambra people are not saying they are not true Igbos. Because I've had people say the language they speak is not true Igbos. I've even had a Ebonyi and Enugu fighting that, some Ebonyi say they don't want to be part of Enugu again. That they speak different Igbos. It's just like Ijebu. When Ijebu is speaking, I am an Oyo man. I will not even hear what they are saying, except they speak the mainstream Yoruba language. So this whole thing, where people belong to, is a matter of choice. But we think that when language are close by, that is what Awolowo proposed. When you have people speaking nearly the same language, who have similar culture, closely related, just like Ishekiri in Niger Delta, in Delta State, they are like a cousin to the Yorubas. Okay? And I know that Urobos, in those days, when we have Western region with Urobos and Shekiri in the Western region, that time, Urobos don't like the fact that Awolowo was, they said Awolowo was more amenable to the Shekiris. that when we have Olu of Wari being Ishekiri, they say it was Awolowo that caused it, which is not true. You know, Urhobos have that animosity with Awolowo that time. You know, this whole problem is so complex. We have to really want to have a country. Even when we have region, you know, some part of Southwest, for instance, believe that the Ijebus, the Ogun people, current Ogun state, they dominated the western region that time because of Awolowo. Okay? So much so that Bola Ige, who was even very close to Awolowo, was saying that there is an Ijebu mafia. Okay? So in their conclave. Also, if you have the southeast, the Igbo land, some people in Ebonyi, they don't like I've had even some governors, I've had that some former governor of Ebonyi, they don't like their friend from Enugu. It is necessary. That is why the current structure of Nigeria, some people believe that is the best, because there is no way you can really have region and still end ethnicity and end animosity. And it's because of people like Victory, who are Urhobos, their population are not many. They don't have the township they have is not many. They just have to be part of a region. And there are many of them like that in the North Central. Very small village, speaking different language from all other languages. Very small population of people, you know. So the minority interest is what is causing problem for us in Nigeria right now. That is why we have a unitary system. That is why Igbos cannot go on their own, Yorubas cannot go on their own, Hausa cannot go on their own, because we want everybody to be together. We want the minority like Victory to be part of us. We want people, Idoma. We want Tiv. These are people that are ethnic nationalities of their own, but they are very small. They can't form a region of their own. In fact, they can't form a state. That's why you have Idoma and Tiv together.
Yeah,
and
but doctor, sorry, doctor, I disagree with you. I disagree with you with that. Who told you we can't form a state of our own? Who told you that? You know, don't you see small country in Europe, Finland and all that? Who told you we can't form a state of our own? You're making an assumption. That's the sweeping assumption. Who told you we can't form a state of our own? We can't.
You be careful with the language you use. You say stupid assumption.
No, I said sweeping, not stupid. I said sweeping.
Okay. Well, if you form a state of your own, if you want to form a state of your own, you can do so, as long as you have, because you think you have the oil that can take care of you. You can do so. There's no problem. But you will realize that there are some other issues. Issue of a state, it goes beyond your natural resources you take from the ground.
So what about Singapore? It's not that's the thing that's another thing that gets me frustrated. We people thinking that it's because we still will have crude oil, gas, and all that. No. The greatest gift anybody has in this world is the ability for you to use your brain to do things for yourself. It's not the natural resources that you have. What can you do with your head, your brain, your thinking faculty? This is what gets me frustrated again. Now you said that, because we think we'll have oil.
If you have a Urhobo state or Urhobo region, that's okay. If that is what we want to have. I'm not stopping. I don't want to stop us from doing that. But you will realize that it will become precarious. It will become so precarious if you have Idoma state, you have Tiv state, you have Urhobo state, you have Ishekiri state, you have, it becomes so precarious.
No, I disagree with that. The Europeans, that's what they've done. The Europeans, all of them are in their small spaces. That's what they've done. I disagree with that. We just keep making excuse for our failure. I disagree with that, doctor.
Okay, can I ask you a question, Victor?
Okay. Oh, I wanted to say thank you, Victor.
I will have to leave.
Yeah. We have to round up. That's what we're trying to do. Victory, thank you for bringing this up, and hopefully, I still hope that we'll have programs that are targeted on certain conversation, because what Victory is bringing up is what I wanted to discuss, and I think I touched on it with the first guest I had. The issue of Africa actually doing what Victory is saying, because even within the nation states that the Europeans created for us, like Nigeria, we're having this conversation. In the bigger continent, the African continent, we're also having this conversation. And the conversation is that, are we accepting what the Europeans gave us, which is the structure we have now, that we are Nigeria, and we are in Niger, and we are Togo. Are we accepting that? It's not working for Africa as it is, because internally, inside those countries that Europeans set up for us, we haven't accepted it. And what are we going to do? Are we going to continue to pretend that we have no option? Like Obasanjo says, it's not negotiable. Nigeria is not negotiable. People are asking the same question in Kenya, in Benin Republic, in all these countries, and in South Africa. From what is happening in South Africa now, we know that people from Zulu, they think they own the country. They think that some people should not be part of South Africa. The white people in South Africa are planning with Trump and the Musk, thinking about carving out a place for themselves to be their own country. So there's a question of, should we go back to Africa before the Berlin conference? Should we start the conversation there? If the small states that we have, like Nigeria, like Liberia, like Ghana, it's not working yet. Or the other alternative is something that we've not touched on. And Victory, we've not had a good leadership in Nigeria that is efficient, that is not pandering to any group. If, for instance, since maybe 1963, we had a government that would say, if you steal money, you are punished. Like in China, it doesn't matter where you're from. If you do something wrong, you go to jail. By now, we're not going to be talking about Urobo. We're not going to be talking about Igbo or Yoruba. We'll be talking about, this person did something wrong. He's punished. This person did something wrong. And this person is leading the country. He's not leading it as a Yoruba person. He's not doing it as an Igbo person. He's not bringing his own people. He's bringing people who are efficient, who can deliver. We've not tried that. And that's why my conclusion has always been that the ideals of Nigeria, they've not been tried and found wanting. We found it difficult, and we left it untried. It's difficult. That's why if somebody gets into power, he wants his own people around him. The minister for defense will have to be somebody you trust. The minister for this. We found it difficult to do it the right way. And we have to decide, either we do best practice that it worked all over the world, or we may decide that this is not working out for us. Maybe we should find another path. All right. On that note, I'm not the one concluding the show. Doc, if you want to say final words.
What I will say is, there is no perfect society. Every society is a work in progress. And the quest for a better society is an unending endeavor. Let's try our best in our own various ways to see how we can contribute to making Nigeria a better place. Whether we work as one country or we run various nationalities, as Victory said, there could be Urobo state or Urobo country, or we have Biafra, or we have Oduduwa. We are still going to be neighbors, whether we like it or not. We are still going to be neighbors. And I came from church to this program. I believe in the scripture. It say, do unto your neighbors what you want your neighbors to do unto you. So let's see ourselves as neighbors. If we do politics by itself is a game of selfishness. You know, whether we like it or not. But let's be careful to do unto others what we want others to do unto us. That's where we end it. And I will also invite you to look forward to my book titled The Unfinished Nigerian Projects. Some of what we are discussing here, I discuss them in detail, and I look at them from the angle of a scientist, which is quite unique, because most people look at nation building from political science and humanity. I look at it from system, from engineering, and I hope you will enjoy it. It's going to be coming out very soon next week. And my article also every week in Monday Tribune, back page Tribune newspaper on Monday. Please join me in conversation. And then that is where we end it. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Rudolph, for having me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Salako. When your book comes out, when we get copies, people can buy it. We'll bring you back here and continue the conversation. One thing I have to tell everybody, it's not going to end. This thing we are battling with, these issues with Nigeria and Africa, they are the same issues that our fathers and grandfathers battled with, you know. So it's a continuous conversation. We hope that we come to agree on certain things and move forward with taking actions on some of those things. Again, thank you everybody that joined us, those watching at home. Thank you so much. I understand that nobody has scored between Argentina and
that's interesting.
Yeah. So I want to thank Rioke for your support and Oriako Tope for your support. Until next week we are going to bring you another guest that will be interesting, and we will continue the conversation. Next stream will be on immediately, and KJ will host, where we do a recap and reaction to what we discussed today with Dr. Salako. Again, thank you so much for joining us, Doctor. I will see you all next Saturday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Tó fẹ́ kú torí ẹ̀. Ọwọ́ ẹni ló ti ṣàánú kọ́. Ayé la fi sílẹ̀ sí. Lọ́nà èyí yóò.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Have you subscribed? Yes, you. Have you subscribed? You. Yeah, before you go, click. It's free. Click. Just that's it. Have you subscribed? You're laughing. Have you subscribed? Have you subscribed? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, madam. Thank you so much. I can see you. I can see you. We have to get to 100,000 subscribers. By the end of the year, how are we going to do that if you don't subscribe? Yes, you. Yes, you're about to click off. Why? Have you subscribed? It's free. If you don't, ask your son, ask your daughter how to. Just one click. Thank you. Thank you. I see you. Aha. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow.
No go better for you now. Last election, you know how much I spent on you now, Obi? Obi one day, now everywhere we they sing. Even my hotel for Ibadan, I dash you now for Obi. I did everything. Now you now sell, you now vote. Now you now even come where we did. How many times where you did when are they protest here? So I come meet Sheyi and I won't die. Make you not die. Sheyi a good boy. Oh. I met the guy, he removed his cap, he met his uncle Isaac. He appreciated me as Obi come to greet me since I done the campaign. We thought my Obi one day. As Obi come to say thank you, or that you send me work, you go complain tire. If I like say, if I go start to the campaign for Tinubu, because you guys are not even worth it. You are there quiet, they wait for my own video to liberate you when you can liberate yourself. I be Yoruba man. I love Tinubu with all my heart, and I love Tinubu. He's a good guy. As Obi son come visit me, because I say they support Obi, I can withdraw my support. Nobody feed me. Everybody, all man for himself, God for us all. I cut you. I want every day, president.
That's actually my
president
job.
will come your house. Our incoming president. So shall he be in Jesus' name. Amen. And for you others, where they abuse me, you don't see now. I'm the 100% obedient. So you better be obedient.
Let me tell you about abuse. Half of people when they abuse don't follow up.
Well, that was one time very tough man to do.
What they do, when they hire people, they carry them, call them most of names.
But we are together,
my people will tell
and we are winning.
My people will tell you one thing I take. Mama, please know, now I'm telling you, one thing I take is criticism. You can never be annoyed with anybody for saying I did something wrong. So anytime you have